Oh, here it is.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, 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 hello. Welcome. Are we live, David Spake?
Yes.
Come on. Let's cook with David.
Hello.
Anybody here?
Anybody here?
Hello, David. Welcome.
We have people?
No. Hi, David. It's Tina.
Hi, Tina. Tina. Which Tina who?
Just says Tina.
Oh, hi.
D-L. D-I-A-L.
Oh.
Tina D-L.
Tina and I went to high school in Guam.
Okay.
And we were on the yearbook committee together, and we were part of the 2 or 3 that were racing to get that yearbook out in time and getting all of the pictures done in the darkroom. I remember spending so much time in the darkroom.
Yep, she says yes.
Yay!
All
How
right.
fun. Well, you want to come over here, Jeremy?
Sure.
We'll talk and get going. Welcome to Over the Counter with David. I'm David.
I'm Jeremy, and I'm just here for moral support, but right now I'm going to be really here for the mimosas. So let's get that started going right now, because that's critical, right? So David, would you like a mimosa?
Sure. Well, I'll just have champagne.
Okay. So tell them a little bit about what you're going to be cooking today.
All right. So today we're going to make my almost award-winning macaroni and cheese, and we'll explain why that was that, why the name is that. We're going to make my favorite personal macaroni and cheese to go with the chili, and then I think while we're waiting for the chili, I'm going to throw in a quick little banana bread just for something fun to fill a little bit of the time.
But most importantly, champagne. So here we go. And I just saw Jerry that logged in. So hi, Jerry.
Hi.
So last week, David decided to not provide any champagne for me while I was being his trusty sidekick.
Trauma.
He got in big trouble for that. So that's not going to happen again.
So there's 3 bottles of champagne to get through the day.
And also a bottle of vodka.
Oh no.
And I'm wearing my pandemic glasses, so enjoy that. Cheers, babe.
Cheers.
So I want to tell you a little bit about why David Spake's chili is not so award-winning.
Almost award-winning.
Almost award-winning. Okay, so we used to live in Atlanta, and there is a chili festival there called Chomp and Stomp in a neighborhood called Cabbagetown. It happens every year. It's super fun. They close down all the streets in the neighborhood. It's a huge festival. It's all amateur people having like tents and things. And there's also restaurants that have their own tents. So there's 2 competitions, one for restaurants and one for amateurs, right? And it's a huge festival. People go to it. You walk around all day. You day drink. There's bands. It's just a lot of people out. It's super fun.
Yeah.
So David decided he was going to enter his chili. And so he did.
I did.
Tell us a little bit about that day.
Well.
By the way, cheers.
Oh, cheers. I already snuck a sip.
Delightful.
So that day, actually it started a couple days before. There was a lot of preparation because you had to have a minimum, was it 15 gallons?
Gallons of chili, yeah. 15 gallons.
15 gallons of chili. That's a mind-boggling amount of.
But that was the minimum you had to even have a tent.
To be an amateur.
Because it's like thousands of people.
Right. So you go to the festival, your ticket is a little plastic spoon, and if you have a spoon, that means you paid, and you can go to any of the competition tents and get a taste of their chili if you have a spoon.
But the chili they give you, those samples are like the little condiment size little bowl things. Like you get
they're in Dixie cups.
They're little small things. Anyway, they're super small, so you get just a little bit. So he rallied me, our friends Jenna and Renee, and we all got together with Melissa and Stephen Bales in the back of a tent, and basically he had us on an assembly line. One person would put out chili, one person would put out macaroni and cheese.
And we also had hoe cake, so it was a layer of macaroni and cheese on the bottom, a layer of chili, and then a little hoe cake, which is a cornmeal type pancake or corn flour. It was just a great little composed bite, and then we had like a topping section at the end with sour cream and onions, and
it was awesome. It was, like it was totally organized, like a little assembly line situation. And we ran out
15 gallons of chili and macaroni and cheese served in tablespoon portions into little cups.
We were done in 15 minutes. That's how popular his chili was.
Everything was
It was
gone.
insane. So we're sitting there like, oh my gosh, we're done, we're out, and everyone else is still serving chili because there's still such a huge line for his. So he's like, oh my gosh, my chili's so popular, it's going to be so well received, it's going to be great, blah, 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 blah.
I mean, all the people in, like, each of us so we were in a little strip, so I tasted the chili of the people next to me, and I gave them mine, and then the other side we did the same just to kind of see how we'd all do with, against each other. And I took a bite of the one to the side, and I was like, this is like watery soup with chili flavoring with pieces of meat in it. It was fine, but...
It was really bad, but it won first place. So we think that David Spake's actually won first place, and they got it mixed up with the person who was next to him. But David Spake, of course, if you remember from last week when someone asked him, what's your favorite meal? He said, my own cooking. That's how very proud of him,
of myself,
himself he is. But, so little David Spake marched himself up to the judges' tent and demanded to see the criteria for judging and the score sheets. Demanded.
Well, when I found out they announced the winner, I wanted to find out, well, what were the rankings? And they didn't have any record of the rankings. And I was like, how do you declare a winner if you don't have that? And
he's asking for metrics and a chili cook-off.
Yes. And then I asked the organizer who I was talking to, he was the leader of the whole thing, and I said, well, what were the criteria for judging?
Arguing with the judge of a chili contest when everyone's hammered in the daytime. This guy.
Right. Well, you don't want to go to the effort of making 30 gallons of food and lugging it around and then pressing your friends into service and being an asshole because you're under so much pressure.
I think it's such a cute story that he was so convinced that he should have won first place.
No, not just that. I wanted to know where I landed and what they liked or didn't like so I could improve it.
It's a fair point, but the real truth is you thought you should have won.
Of course I should have won. Because the guy next to me served soup with a little chili flavor, and he won, and it was not chili by anyone's definition.
So, before we get to the actual cooking of the chili, let me tell you a little bit of one more little anecdote about this whole chili cook-off scenario before I get out of your face. So, it's called Chomp and Stomp. Well, we were trying to think of a cool team name because everybody competes about the cool team names. Like some people had Netflix and chili, and they were all dressed up like different movie characters. It was actually pretty cool. So we came up with, if anyone's ever heard of Marcel Duchamp, he was a modern artist in the early 20th century, and he was famous he was the guy who put a urinal in an art gallery and basically signed his name on it and said, hey, art, right? So we can get into a lot of historical debates about the relevance of art history and that piece particularly, but I thought Marcel Duchamp, Chomp and Stomp, so we were going to be the Marcel Duchamp and Stomp.
And we'll put a picture up on...
And we were going to serve the chili out of a urinal. That was so funny.
No. He wanted to do that. We were not going to do that.
I found an actual urinal that we could serve chili out of, and everyone was like, chili in a urinal, serving to people is not fucking appetizing. Terrible idea, Jeremy. And by the way, they were right. But I did get a fake urinal, and we had these little fake urinals all over our table, but no one got the joke.
Right. So now we have another fake urinal.
So here's another fake urinal to illustrate this story. And if anyone needs any target practice, just let me know because we can rent this out.
Got a little boy who needs to learn how to...
Or this guy.
No, I don't miss.
All right, so welcome everybody. Hi. David's second week, he's going to get to cooking. I'm going to get over there and start drinking, monitoring the chat.
All right. Tell me who's online before we get going.
And providing, hilarious anecdotes here and there.
Yeah. The peanut gallery today. You ran out of champagne. Let me get you some more.
Oh, that would be great.
So we're doing our Martha Stewart episode today.
Thanks, everybody. Mwah!
Because we're drinking liberally sauced. All right. Anybody chatting?
All right, so you got Jerry here. Carrie is here.
Hi.
And your sister, Sean.
Welcome, everybody.
And Sean says they obviously bribed the judges. And Jerry says that she's totally down with you being a Karen and going and marching and asking to speak to the manager.
Well, I mean, it was something that it wasn't, that amount of food isn't free. So there is an investment beyond ego. There was like the money in
babe. It was only ego for you. It was only ego. Let's be real.
But it was a lot of fun.
Was it, David?
Yes. Yes, in hindsight it was.
It was fun for him, but meanwhile, I'm slopping chili for an hour and a half to thousands of people and having my hands being burned off.
Well, you can, if you've ever had pancakes, which essentially are what hoe cakes are, you can have like chili made and kept hot. You can have macaroni and cheese made and kept warm. But have you ever had a pancake that's not fresh? It's not so awesome. So I was cooking those madly as we were going along.
Another great part of that story is his whole family came to support him and eat his chili. They got there too late though, they weren't able to eat it because it was already pretty much over. But we all were walking around the neighborhood during that time and found those old church pews.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
And his mother and I were like, we want those church pews. So we somehow managed to pay like $30 for 2 old wooden church pews. And then some
nice
guy
burgundy seats.
brought them over to our house like a week later.
Yeah. And
they
jammed them into our mud room in the basement.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't get in out of the basement, and we couldn't get them out for
like a
ever.
year.
Yeah, just they were jammed in, and I was like, never mind, I'll just climb over when I need to.
So we threw them away. But we had 2 really cool church pews for a while.
Right. And actually, so come back.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So on the Chump and Stomp story was, Jeremy stated there was the amateur side and the restaurant side, and so the restaurant side was being judged by all the Atlanta celebrity chefs.
Kevin Rathman is his favorite steak guy.
Right, so I think I mentioned that last week about Kevin Rathman's steak in Atlanta being one of the best meals I've ever had. And Kevin Rathman was walking up the street to escape Chomp and Stomp because he'd done his duty.
He was a celebrity judge.
Celebrity judge for the restaurants. And of course I come racing out of the tent because I had saved off a couple bites of chili and hidden them from all the plebes. And he walked by and, did you get him or did I?
I grabbed him. I noticed him walking and I pointed him out to you and said, go get him. And you did. You did.
And so I was like, I just wanted, want you to try my chili.
I recognized him. I knew what he looked like. Yeah.
And so he ate it.
And he said to you that it was better than half the restaurants that he
judged.
Yeah,
most of the restaurants. Better than most of the restaurant chili
that's what he
said.
Judged. Yep. I heard him with my own ears.
Yeah.
So his favorite steak chef said his chili was better than most of the restaurant quality chili that he judged that day.
Right, and they were all going out of their way, trying to be special in their special kitchens. So
you don't have to go out of your way to be special. You're just normally special.
I'm always special. All right, so today, running over the menu again, we are going to be making my almost famous chili. Could have been famous if I'd known what the criteria was for the judging. We're going to make the Big Kids mac and cheese that we served with the chili, and just because I love banana bread and I have bananas that have aged out because I didn't get to them a little bit, we are going to make a banana bread that we hadn't announced.
David, your brother's here, and your mother, and Jerry.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Roddy. Mom. I assume Angela's with Roddy. So,
cheers.
Cheers. We should have come up with a drinking word game for the day.
Oh, Jerry, if you can hear us, tell us, actually, let's ask your mother. Mama Wani, tell us a word that if David says, every time he says it.
Or you should maybe keep it in chat until the first time I do it.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Think of a word that he says a lot, or if you notice like a little, we all have, verbal tics or little patterns, right?
Right.
So if you notice a verbal tic, call it out. And if he says it a lot, then I'll just drink a sip of champagne every time.
Okay. Am I going to have to watch this to figure out?
No.
All right. So, with this, and as usual, try to prepare food so that it kind of comes out and it's ready at the same time. Water in a very large pot takes quite a while to boil, and instead of watching and waiting for, say that again, instead of waiting for a watch pot to never boil, we're going to put the pot on and ignore it and turn it on to boil on the side. Is this as captivating for you as it is for me?
Carrie Lehman wants to know, how does David's quarantine hair look so good?
It is called Got to Be Glue. I actually washed my hair today, so that was one thing that sets it apart from most of the rest of the week. And Yeah, it's called Got to Be Glued. Just go like this and then go, and it's hair. It's done.
Hey baby, behind you, would you hand me my cup on the
Sure.
counter? Thank you.
That's actually his fruit juice to make his mimosa.
It's my fruit juice. Thank you. So while he's filling the pot, I will just say his chili is one of my favorite things that he makes. And I love it when he makes a big pot of it because we can just eat it for days and days and days.
Yeah.
I really love it. And it's good with the grilled cheese or this macaroni and cheese that he makes. This is one of his favorite things that he makes for us.
Yeah. One of the nice things about chili is it is kind of a guide rather than a hard recipe. If you like more beans, feel free, you can add more beans. If you want more meat, you can add more meat. This is just a good starting balance. You can stretch it as you need or shrink it. If you do go to the recipes on the website, I have put them in and you can adjust the serving size. So if you don't want to figure out what's the calculation to make half as much macaroni and cheese and try to track it yourself, you can set your serving size number on the website, davidspake.com, and when you go to print, you can print out the size that you have added. So you could do it by half, you could double it, you could do it by a third more, whatever. So I've got my water here. Should I just stick it here?
Sean says she loves you in shorts.
Oh, thanks. I love shorts. So, I'm going to heavily salt the water, about twice as much as what most people tell you to, because salty water makes noodles taste better. I'm going to have to wash the lid. I'll do that in a little bit. So, water's on for boiling. I'm going to get a large pan. Quick rinse.
Your mother says she's watching you on their big TV.
Oh, fun! Yeah. Twitch does have applications so you can stream it on all of your streaming devices. So if you have an Apple TV or a Roku or like a Chromecast or anything like that, you can stream Twitch on that. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually, I think, prep all the pieces and then we're going to start cooking.
Hey Sean, I like him in shorts too. Looks cute, right? Oh, and Carrie Lehman's niece, her name is Carson. She's a budding chef. She's watching and she says, those guys look cool.
Thanks. Well, keep going. It's worth doing. It's a lot of fun and it makes people happy. I love having friends over for dinner. I can't wait till the quarantine's done and we can have people come over to eat the food we make every week.
For example, maybe Carson, you can come over and drink with us. Oh, probably not drink, right?
Well, she can drink just like Kool-Aid or apple juice. We could get a sparkling cider or something and let her just have fun and play along. So for the chili, we need 2 medium onions. I've got one rather large onion.
You got onions behind you. You put them up there last night so you would remember where they were.
I'm great. So I have one large onion, and I'm going to just go with that because I didn't have medium ones. So, like I said, flexible. All right. All right, so I cut the stem end off. This is, when you get green onions, you get the green parts and the white part. Same idea, just baby onions instead of mature onions. So to dice an onion, I'll cut it in half, take off the papery outside peel.
Carrie bought her niece a bottle of Moscato yesterday.
Really?
So she's a bad aunt. By the way, Carrie, I would like you to know.
A bottle of what?
I'm also a bad aunt. And Sean wants to know, is cooking your love language?
Actually, yes, because I'm really typically very bad about vocalizing Specifics about emotion. I'm great about saying I love you, but apparently that's not always enough.
What would make you think that?
Come on, paper.
Sean, David actually cooks a lot for us, and I do think it's his love language. And he's been teaching me a lot lately, and that's been fun for us to do together since we've been home so much.
Yes.
We've been cooking a lot lately together.
All right. So to dice the onion, I've cut the onion in half, and I peeled the paper off of it, which is just the first layer of one of the many layers of an onion. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a slice halfway down the onion, but I'm not going to quite cut through the top layer because I want it to hold everything together. But this is going to give me a pre-slice. If I cut it completely off, then I'm like chasing it back and forth as I try to chop. And this way it holds together a little bit better and it makes it safer and easier to chop. Then I'm going to make some vertical slices about 1/2 inch or 1 centimeter apart. So now I've got the X and the Y, and now I just come down through it, and you have a nice onion dice, and I just threw away the root end. And this is a little bit of the root end. I just don't want to deal with it. So, half done. Take the other half. It won't hurt you to eat the outside of the onion. It just doesn't have the flavor. It doesn't add much. I'm slicing down. That wasn't exactly straight, but good enough. It's not easy slicing at an outward angle like that. When you slice, let the knife's edge work for you, right? If you just go, you're putting all of your weight against the food that you're cutting and you're fighting it. A knife edge is made to cut by motion, not just by pressure. So if you're cutting this, I'm pushing the knife forward so that the blade of the knife cuts through it. If I'm cutting like a mince, I'm taking it and I'm rocking the knife down, not just going like this, but rocking the knife a little bit and letting the knife do more of the work. Yes, Jeremy?
I just want to say a special shout out to Sierra. Mwah. Hope you're doing well, Levy. Cheers. My friend Sierra joined.
Hi, Sierra. Also, I did put last week's live broadcast on the YouTube channel. I will put a link in later today so that you can see where that is. One of the funny things that you have to do that is when you put a video on YouTube is you need to decide what your still shot is going to be that represents the video. So I've decided I'm going to look for the most awkward pictures possible taken from that week's video. And this week it might be Jeremy's face in the camera.
Yes, for sure. There's nothing. My face is pretty awkward, so that would be.
Well, that's not true.
I'm so glad Sierra is here. Sierra, you need to get your ass up to Seattle and visit us.
So, 5 cloves of garlic. I'm just peeling the outside to keep the paper mess down. One of the easiest ways to break apart this, if you don't already know, you just put it so the root side's up and put a little, root side? Yeah. Put a little pressure forward and all the parts jump off. Whoops. So I need 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. All right. Cut the end off.
David, why don't you describe a little bit about the chili cook-off situation that day? Like, what was your little like lineup? Like what was like the assembly line procedure.
Well, I wasn't on the assembly line as much as I could
Right.
have been.
David
because
was
I
like the
still
CEO.
madly cooking in the background.
David was the CEO and I was like the frontline worker.
Right, so maybe you should tell me the order. Wasn't
Well-
it macaroni first?
Yeah, so people would give their little Dixie cups, and then Jenna or Renee, they would take turns, would
Thanks, Jen and Renee.
put the macaroni at the bottom, and then they would hand it to me, and they would put, I would put the chili in, and then they would hand it to like Stephen Bales, who would put the hoe cakes in, and we'd hand it to the people, and then there was like a whirl of condiments for them.
Right.
It was a full situation.
Yeah. And then peeling garlic, I don't really fight with it. Very rarely do I need the garlic to look like a whole garlic clove. So I just smash it lightly with the side of a knife and all the paper. Other than that one, all the paper tends to come off really easily.
Janora says that she's learned a new way to get wrapped off garlic.
Yeah.
Wrapper off garlic.
Yeah. Who is that?
Janora.
Hi, Janor.
Jerry says, it's so perfect that it's rainy and cold today in Seattle for this chili. And actually you're right, Jerry, it's been so beautiful and gorgeous and sunny all week. And then of course today, Saturday, it's gross and rainy, and overcast and a little cold, but David Spake has shorts on still.
Well, it is a kitchen. Once I start cooking everything, it's going to get hot for me in here. So why not make it hot for everybody?
Certainly hot for me, my love.
Oh, good. I'm just roughly cutting the garlic first. That piece is chasing. Squish him a little more so he doesn't run around. All right. Sorry, I can't look up very well and chop. I'm not that good. I'm afraid of my fingertips.
You've been teaching me to cook this week, or during quarantine, you've been telling me that my knife skills are pretty bad. So why don't you tell me what I should be doing?
All right. It's harder with small foods. It's a whole lot easier with bigger things. But if you're going to mince or chop, like with the onion, I was holding the onion over here and chopping back. But with the garlic, it's much smaller, and if you're cutting with holding it this way with your fingers forward, it's so easy and so common to cut your own finger in place of the vegetable or whatever you're trying to cut. So what you should do is put your fingers this way on what you're holding and rock forward a little if you can so that your knuckles are just a little bit forward of your fingertips. And that way it'll keep your fingers bent back so you can't chop the end of your finger off. And if you do get too close, you're going to hit your fingernail when you're coming down instead of your fingertip. It's a little more resilient. But using your knuckle as the guide by bending your fingers in, that way you can feed the food without moving the knife. Yeah, and then we'll just turn it around.
So you make that look so easy, but in reality it's pretty hard to do. I still can't do it really well.
All right, and I do want this a little smaller, so I'm going to just do this. Holding the one end of the knife down, just that way it doesn't clatter around. And you can go a little faster because you've got an anchor that you can work from by holding the one end of the knife down. Does that help, Ciara?
Jerry says it's getting hot in here, and Janora is loving this.
Oh, good.
I think Jerry was referring to your shorts, and particularly maybe your butt, so I could turn around and give her a little show.
I'm sure she'll see that shortly. You can point it out later.
Okay.
It's not exactly the Naked Chef show that people were asking for last week, but it's the short show.
Uh-huh.
All right, so we have the onions and the garlic done. What else do we need? That's it for chopping, actually, for the chili.
Jerry also said it's getting hot in here like the Nelly song. And by the way, Jerry, just so you know, this is a guilty pleasure I have, but I love Nelly. Don't tell anyone except for everyone who's here on this chat. Nelly, like back in the early 2000s, yes. It's getting hot in here. I love that song.
Let's give it a quick wash. Don't want all the flavors to meld with the wood. I'm going to get a drying mat out just so I can set this down without making a big mess on the counter. I'm going to wash the salt lid while I'm at it because I dropped it on the floor.
Sierra says, way to clean as you go, girl. So Sierra, thank you for noticing that, and thank you for pointing it out, because this is one of our common domestic battles and squabbles that we have. To clean as you go. By the way, you can change people. Look at David cleaning as he goes. Sierra also says that she thinks she has the same cutting board as you. Where did you get that cutting board?
Where did we get this one?
So she says that she got hers at World Market. Sierra, I bet that one is also from World Market. We have two cutting boards, and I think one is from there and one is from somewhere else. But I think that one is the one from World Market. Yeah.
All right.
And Janora says yes, clean as you go. And Janora was here with Carrie last summer.
Okay, I know who you are. Hi. All right, set this rag over here. So first I'm going to brown, is this getting hot?
Hey, got a question for you.
Yes.
When do you use fresh produce versus dried or powdered, like onion powder, garlic powder, chili powder, et cetera, versus fresh stuff? Like dried herbs, things like that.
Actually, sorry, I'm thinking of a good way to respond. You could, for most cases, they are interchangeable, and that's the point of the dry herbs. You do get a little more flavor out of fresh herbs, so if you're going to use dry herbs in place of fresh herbs that you would normally use, you would want to maybe increase the amount that you would normally have because it has a little less flavor. One of the things that you can do, and that we are going to do in the chili, is when you add your dry herbs, if you've got a layer, like here I've got the onions and the garlic, when you're cooking that, if you put your dry herbs in with that in the oil and bring them up to heat and cook them, the oil will help rehydrate them a little bit, and the process and the moisture from the vegetables, and it will kind of bring them back alive in a way and make them more flavorful than if you just dump them in. Did that answer the question?
That was from Aziz, by the way.
Hey, Aziz.
Drink that champagne, girl.
I use onion powder primarily when I don't want big chunks of onion. It's not appropriate for what I'm doing. I don't want to go through the process of pureeing onions. I can just put onion powder in. It's just dehydrated onion that's been ground up.
So babe, I don't think you actually met Janora. So Janora didn't stay here with Carrie, that was Sarah.
Oh,
Janora was part
you're right.
of Carrie's group of girlfriends, and they all stayed on Vashon Island. I hung out with them across the street at Damn the Weather, but I don't know if you met Janora.
Did I not go to Damn the Weather that day?
I don't think you did. Janora, did you meet David in person? If you can still hear me, or Carrie, I don't think that you guys did. But I could be wrong.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I've set the onions close to the stove so I don't drop them later. I'm going to brown the hamburger. I've got 2 pounds.
Yeah, that's what I thought. David, you did not meet Janora. I hung out with them across the street at Damn the Weather, but unfortunately he missed the Janora show, but Janora's tuning into the David show, so we'll get some reciprocity going in the future. Janora, come back to Seattle anytime.
Yeah. So I'm not super fancy as much as I just got 2 pounds of hamburger from the meat shop, the butcher at Pike Market, because we believe in supporting our local producers and local companies as much as possible. So I went there to grab my meat. So I know this is already 2 pounds. It looks like a big lot of meat, and it is. It's 2 pounds of meat. Whoops.
What kind of meat is it again? Did you say already?
I just typically use, I use like 80-20 for most of my cooking, which is 80% meat and 20% fat, which sounds high, except, you do need some fat in your diet, so I'm not afraid of that. And it's about balancing what you eat, not as much what you eat, assuming you're not allergic to something. So this fries better. Lower fat meats tend to burn rather than caramelize because they don't have the fat content to break down, and it's less flavorful. And that's one of the things I'm after here is flavor. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to fry the meat in a frying pan, set it aside, and then I'm going to take the pot I'm going to cook the chili in, and I'm going to do all the onions and all the spices there, and then take the meat out and put it into the pot with all the spices. All right, so I've turned on the stove. I'm going to just add some salt and pepper, just so I can see. One of the things that I've learned is every component that you put into a dish, however much seasoning that piece would take by itself is how much you should add to it when you're going. Right? So in this case, if I was just going to cook the meat by itself, I would, if I was just cooking the meat by itself as a solid piece, I would salt and pepper both sides appropriately. But it seems like a lot, and each step you're going to add a little more. You just do it in a little, like slightly lower amounts than you would maybe imagine your final product would be. That way you can account for salt from other sources, which I'll get into when we get further into this. So, salt and peppered some meat. I have multiple pans. I have non-stick pans and I got cast iron pans. With cast iron I typically use, oh no! I am not a drummer. I did not flip that very well, but
Well, at least remember last week when you turned the oven off when you when you were trying to cook something, and so a dropped spatula is not that big of a deal. In fact, part of our anecdote about the chili cook-off involves a spatula. Remember, you needed one desperately and we'd forgotten one, and so Jenna and I went looking for a spatula at her friend's apartment because he lived 2 blocks from the place, and he like got all indignant. He was like, "If you don't bring me back my spatula, I'm never speaking to you again, Jenna. You too, Jeremy. I need this spatula back." We were like, "It's a $2 spatula from IKEA, buddy. Calm down."
Right. All right. For those of you who are playing along with the clean food, clean counter, clean implements, I have one rag I'm using to wipe the counter with. I'm not mixing that back up with the others. Just in case it does pick something up, I'm not putting it onto other things.
Carrie, you may hijack the Spake all you want to. It's sorry, hijack the chat, not hijack the Spake, but I guess you could also hijack the Spake. Varnished Huns, I have a question for you, David. That's what I love the username.
Who is it?
Varnished Huns.
Huns?
Huns, H-U-N-S.
Okay.
That's the username. I love that username. I don't know who it is, but I like it. So ask the question. Is there a reason you don't brown the meat in the pot, then drain and set aside?
Yes. I did it that way. I did it because it's a lot easier to drain meat out of a frying pan than it is out of a big like stock pot or a cooking pot. I've got more leverage or more space to work from. I can scoop out easier because it's shallower, and that's it. But yeah, that's why. If you aren't wanting to dirty another dish or pan or something, then that would, you can do it the other way. It's just a matter of simplicity later for me. I'd just rather wash one more pan than maybe splash oil on myself unnecessarily.
Drink that champagne.
Try. Now I'm going to have some water. And for those of you who know what this is, if you were from Hendersonville, then you would know. I stole this cup from Jeremy. And then the water splashed me in the face. Anyway, it's Hendersonville High School Commandos.
Go Commando. Yeah, you stole that cup from me years ago. I'm still mad about it.
I know, it's been what, 5 years?
Yeah, every time I try to take it back or hide it from you, you tend to find it and it disappears again. But then you just do it right in front of me and it kind of like is a blatant, you know.
Well, you took my big glass mug, so I think we're even.
That's true, I did. Carrie wants to know, but did David truly go commando? And well, Carrie, stick around for the after hours.
No.
You just might see something special. Behind the scenes.
All right. The water did start boiling, but I'm not really totally ready for it, so I'm going to slide it back and put it on a different burner and just keep it going. I do want to get the pot out I'm going to use for the chili. Like my sound effects?
Middle-aged bending.
Right. Actually, I am going to just leave this up here for now. I'll move it over here when this is ready. It's a bigger burner and it's easier to manage.
Hey, Carrie. Just wanted to give you a little cheers. This thing on? This thing on? Carrie Lehman. Mwah! You know what I could use, David Spake?
No, what could you use?
Some more champagne.
More champagne.
Da 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 da.
And this is why the channel has the Not Safe for Children warning, because we're openly drinking and enjoying it, and we say naughty words. Sometimes. Oops. All right. Any other questions while we wait for the meat to brown?
Well, Sierra says going commando sounds like going native when a place takes you over. Well, yeah, that's I can relate. I understand what you're saying there, Sierra. David has gone native. He has met so many Hendersonville people that I feel like he practically went to high school with us.
Well, I know everything that happened in the 4 years that they went to high school because they talk about it every time.
Josh is offended because we're saying dirty words. So Jerry is watching with Josh and he's not happy about it. And he's offended that we're drinking.
Is he now? Is he also offended at Jerry drinking next to him?
I'm sure Jerry was kidding. Sean says, champagne kisses, caviar wishes.
Thank you. All right. Not the most boring, exciting step, but you know, it just has to be done and it'll be over in a minute.
Your father says he could dirty every pot and pan in the house. And may I also just reiterate that I agree with you completely. He is the messiest cook alive. This is why cooking as you go has become part of his regimen. Cleaning as you go. Sorry, cleaning as you go is part of his go. Yeah.
All right. So the meat's basically browned. I'm going to actually, to make life easier, I don't always use like a trivet or a hot pad. I'll just turn my cutting board upside down. It has silicone feet on it, so if they get warm, it's not going to burn anything. And the wood's a great insulator, and it's handily right there.
So Josh apparently is loving the show, and Jerry's sending him to get her beer.
Okay, good. Get her a light beer.
You be you, David.
All right, moving the pot over here, swapping places. See? Boiling. All right. So, over here, actually, I'm going to take the meat out of the water and the fat that remains. Get a little slotted spoon. Is this on camera?
Yeah, you can see you. You can still see you.
All right. Letting the pot, I'm cooking the final dish in, warm up. tad. Because it's better to cook over heat than cold.
And what kind of meat are you using? Ground beef, right?
This is ground beef. 2 pounds of ground beef. If you don't like beef, turkey works fine. Ground chicken works fine. You could use ground pork, or you could mix them up for flavor. Whatever makes you happy.
I have a very intriguing and astute question for you.
Yes.
Last week you said you didn't like the flavor of chilies, but now you're making chili. Discuss.
Okay. So this is one of those things where we have overloaded words in English. I will explain better. When you have, so this is a bell pepper. Bell peppers have a very unique and distinct flavor. Jalapenos, it's a type of a chili, has a very unique and very strong flavor. There are other types of peppers that don't have that strong flavor, particularly when they've been dried. So if you have red pepper chili flakes, like this, these don't have a particular taste in the way that a fresh pepper does. I don't mind the heat. I just don't like the flavor of a green chili. Does that make enough sense?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I like the way jalapenos taste, but I understand that what you're saying. There's a distinct kind of there's a distinct jalapeno type flavor, and you don't like that.
Right. It's whatever, jalapenos and green.
You don't like pepper.
Green peppers have a very similar kind of flavor, core flavor to them. And if you've ever had a chili relleno.
Have you ever had do you like chili rellenos? I love those.
No, I do not, because that is specifically the flavor of chili that I don't like.
And I do love
So those. It's a generic word, and then we use that same word to describe the food dish also, but chili powder, I guess it just doesn't have a strong, fresh chili flavor. But if you like that, you could put fresh peppers in instead. But it's not my favorite.
Have you ever had a ghost pepper?
No.
I like all peppers, but I don't like habaneros.
Yeah. Just checking to see if there's any heat in here. We're gonna put in a couple tablespoons of oil into the pot. Put in the onions and the garlic and saute them a little bit with a dash of salt. But yeah. I'm trying to think of something else. It's like fish. Not all fish taste the same, but it's called fish. Some is super fishy, some of it's lighter. A good salmon doesn't taste like halibut.
Keep those questions coming, Carrie. So, got another question for you. How about serranos or Hungarian wax peppers?
I love to cook with serrano chilies. They have a very low flavor that they add, and they add a very controllable amount of heat. The biggest problem with ghost peppers and Scotch bonnets is the heat is so powerful that you don't necessarily have a fine enough control, and the serranos tend to be something that I know how to manage better.
What is a Hungarian wax pepper? Do you know what that is? I've never heard of that.
Is it like a pasilla, or is it what they make paprika from?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Good. I got some oil on the burner from the ground beef. Just a tad bit of salt. So I'm just trying to soften these a little bit before we do a whole lot more. So,
It smells very garlicky and oniony in here.
Right?
Yep. Cleaning as you go.
Trying to keep up with it.
One of my favorite things to see.
All right, so while these are going, I need to get some spices out. So I need chili powder. What else do we need? We need cumin and oregano.
So you use cumin in a lot of things.
Yeah.
So what is exactly that? What's the flavor of it exactly? I still don't really kind of know my differences between spices, right?
If you've ever made tacos, This is the distinctive smell, do you want to come smell it, of what taco meat smells like to you.
Oh my God, that smells great.
Right?
Yeah.
This is the distinctive thing. And it's also part of what makes chili, chili, to me. It's chili powder, which is generic Target brand chili powder, and that, and then I need...
Carrie Lehman says she loves cumin, but it reminds her sometimes, Sierra says sometimes it reminds her of body odor. And we also have a comment that someone needs to invent a smell-o-vision, and they love the smell of onions cooking.
Yeah.
I agree, it smells great in here.
I'm going to put a little more oil in. It's kind of too dry and it's sticking to the bottom.
Sarah Kate is here, David, and she says she puts cumin in chicken salad for her and her boo for lunch. Her and her boo, Sarah Kate.
Hey.
She's here, and she says, when in doubt, cumin.
Cumin.
I'm sure she meant that pronounced in a different way, but I agree, regardless of the pronunciation. Also, Sarah Kate, by the way, just so you know, I love chicken salad. Chicken salad is one of my favorite lunch sandwiches, and so cumin and chicken salad sounds great. I'm going to try that.
And one of the things that we want to do on the show, and this reminds me, if you have a great recipe or something you want me to try to make, I want to try once a week something I've never made in the future. Chicken salad or something, using a recipe I've never used before, so that everybody can see what it's like, because I'm sure that's what it is for a lot of people just learning to cook or who aren't so comfortable.
Like me.
Yeah, and let's just do that. So if you want to, if you sign up on the website, davidspake.com, you can add your own recipe. I'll just go in, make yourself a little profile, and you can put in all your ingredients, and then we'll give it a go.
Awesome, awesome.
All right, so I'm putting in 2 tablespoons of cumin and 1 tablespoon of oregano. I have ground oregano. You can use leaf, whatever. If you're going to use leaf, use a little more, because you've got a lot of empty space because of the shape of leaves. All right. And then I'm going to put a ½ cup of chili powder in. And this, let's see how much it takes. I can't see a size on the container.
I wonder if Carrie Lehman could give you an eye exam.
Maybe.
Okay, hold on. Someone recommended adding olive salad, like an olive tapenade that's used in muffaladas, into a chicken salad. That sounds amazing. I've never thought of that. I love a muffalada. I love olive tapenade. I love olives in general. I've never thought about that. That's a great idea. Put that in a chicken salad.
All right. So I just took that up the heat. I'm letting the spices open up a little bit there. I'm going to put the meat in. I don't know if you can see in the pot, but here we go. Thickly sliced hamburger.
You can pretty much see it, but here, let me do a little.
No, it's all right. Don't move that one.
All right. Yes, sir. I will stay seated.
I just didn't want to hold the pan that way, that long.
Carrie says she'll give you a free eye exam if you'll cook for her.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that we talked about was salting as you go. And one of the things to be concerned about, particularly if you buy canned tomato products, is they come with wildly varying amounts of salt in them. The default amount per serving that you're going to find is over 200 milligrams of salt, whereas naturally occurring just tomato puree has 10 milligrams of salt per serving. So this, you need to keep that in mind. So if you can only find high salt tomato product, then you really do need to be more mindful of the earlier phases where you're adding salt to as you go, because you're going to add a whole bunch when you add this in, and then it's going to condense down as the moisture evaporates. So it's going to condense, and then the amount of salt that remains is going to be higher per spoonful of leaf than it would have been otherwise. So I got the lowest ones I can. This one was a 90 milligrams per serving, and this is 10 milligrams. Most of the name brand ones you're familiar with, you can get salt-free, but like in this case, Hunt's tomato puree has very little salt, but their tomato sauce and their crushed tomatoes have like 200. And another brand, the crushed tomatoes, will have 10 milligrams of salt. And anyway, just look at the nutrition label. It tells you how much there is.
While you're opening that can, which by the way, your arms look great.
Oh, great.
You used to can things. You used to can tomatoes and make us tomato soup out of it.
Yes. What about it?
I was just going to ask, like, how was that? Seems like it was an arduous process.
It was a big process.
I never paid attention.
So what I was doing at the time, and it was just so beautiful to look at. I love to do it even just like as a cosmetic thing. We got cherry tomatoes, which are the ones about that big, small, about an inch around. Washed them, and then canned them whole, which is very rare. You have to process them for a very, very long time to be able to deal with issues like food safety. Normally, if you're canning tomatoes or tomato product, you need to either add acid or you have to pressure can them because they don't have enough acid to be shelf stable without something. So anyway, I'll put a picture up of what the canned tomatoes looked like that I did. They were just so beautiful.
They really were.
Put a sprig of like thyme and some onions in it, and then when you come back to it and you open it up, what I did is I take the tomatoes out, and I think Jeremy's favorite way of having them was to just put them in a pot, take out the sprig of parsley, all the liquid, the tomato water to come out of it, blend it up and put in a dash of cream, and it's the
so
freshest, best tasting tomato soup, even though it came from a canned tomato. It wasn't a processed can like commercial. They're just really good.
It was amazing.
And it just allows you to take advantage of like gardening and stuff like that if you can get all your small tomatoes to ripen at the same time. All right. So mixing this up together a little bit, making sure the pot's on medium-low.
Sarah Kate, I'm not sure if you're still with us, but if you are, I hope you and your boo are doing well. And I know that you were going to get married and your wedding had to be postponed because of coronavirus, and that sucks. So cheers to you both, and congratulations anyway.
All right, so I largely decide what beans I'm going to put into my chili based on the way the beans look more than the flavor, because beans are kind of bland-ish and they tend to have very similar flavor profiles.
I have a question. Do you grow some of your own produce or herbs?
I have grown herbs in the past. We've never had a real garden.
That's not true. I had 6 box gardens for years in Atlanta, David Spake.
Right. Also known as deer feeders.
Right. So we put these beautiful, well, I actually, you guys, let me just brag about
Do you want
myself.
to come up here and brag?
I'll tell you.
Anyway, I'm just, as you can see, adding the cans of beans that I had listed on the...
Make sure my pandemic glasses are on. Here they are. So yes, when we lived in Atlanta, look at my wonderful pandemic hair. When we lived in Atlanta, we had 6 box gardens that I built with my own 2 hands in our front yard, because our backyard was covered with trees and there was never any sunlight. So we put 6 box gardens in our front yard along the side of a fence that separated our yard from our neighbors. And I got compost and all this beautiful soil, And my friend Jenna and Stephen Bales and I like planted, we did 6 at her house, 6 at my house, and 6 at his house. And we all like went out and got compost together and planted everything and bought plants together. It was like this little 3-ring circus we had of gardeners, avant gardeners, if you will. Anyway, so I plant things, they start to bloom, everything's looking great. I'm taking such good care of it. I'm out there all the time. I'm like composting it. I'm so happy about it. I can't wait. I'm so like proud of myself. Well, one day we go out, everything's gone. And I'm like, did our neighbors steal my produce? Who would steal my produce? All of it's gone.
We lived in the city.
We lived in town in Atlanta. Well, we lived in like a neighborhood called East Atlanta, which is like, it's a little rough and scruff, okay? So anyway, all that stuff is gone. And I'm like, people stole my produce. I'm furious. We go out and plant it again. I'm like, no one's gonna deter my garden. Well, we drive home one night at like 11:45 in the evening, and there's 10 deer sitting there eating all my garden, and they look over at us, not even scared. Like the headlights we were like making noise. They just turn back and start eating. They were not even fazed by us at all. These brazen East Atlanta hood rat deer ate all my produce. So
Hood rat.
we tried to garden. It failed.
But my parents, when I was a kid, we did grow up. They did like a home garden, but it was quite large. I don't know. I'm sure they can tell us how long it was. Dad went out and tilled it every year. But they grew peas and corn and Brussels sprouts and cabbage and broccoli.
Sarah Kate says, cheers, you're using their wedding presents already. She has a cooking question for you.
Okay.
How do you make yourself use the safety on the mandolin when it works so much better without it?
Because it's a razor sharp blade, and you will end up sending yourself to the hospital if you don't.
Thank you, Carrie.
So that's my answer.
Thank you, Carrie Lehman, for catching my music reference. I appreciate that. I think Sarah Kate's just not going to believe you, and she's going to still use it without the safety.
How about if you have I'll just use this avocado. If you hold it for the first half, and then once it's low enough to where it doesn't overbalance, short enough, then use the safety for the second half. And it's important as you get low, particularly if you get really comfortable using it, and you're using it a lot, you're just slicing mindlessly. It is so easy to get into a habit, and then just do this and rip off the ends of the backs of your knuckles or something against the blade.
Sarah's with you. She's going to use it with the safety. And Sierra wants to know, are you speaking from experience? Do you have a mandolin-related ER story?
I do not.
Tell us, Sierra, about your most recent ER-related story, though.
For my cat?
Yeah.
What?
We went to the ER and they thought I was beating you.
Oh, that's true. One of the things that you do if you go into the ER with a physical injury and you're married or seeing somebody is they ask you if you're here because of abuse or if you need help. So they just ask, do you need help? And Jeremy was right there and I was like, no, I'm fine. And then when Jeremy left to go to the bathroom, they asked again. Because they were thinking maybe he'd push me down the stairs, and that's how I hurt my calf. He didn't.
Not this time.
I hurt my calf because I'm a klutz.
You really are a klutz.
Yes.
You're the cutest klutz ever, but you're a klutz.
All right, so the chili is on. I have it on just like medium-low, and it just needs to simmer for about an hour. And the reason why is, particularly if you're using turkey or chicken, when you fry the meat, it can get really hard, and it's not as nice to eat. And when you simmer it, then the flavors will meld and get into the meat instead of just around the outside, and the meat itself will soften as it sits and simmers. So we're leaving the chili on for about an hour. We're going to occasionally stir it and go from there. So the macaroni and cheese, really, it takes 12 minutes. 13 minutes to make, 14, because I like a pot. So I grew up eating primarily Kraft macaroni and cheese, and so for me, macaroni and cheese is it's a stovetop product, and you have a creamy cheese to it, and that's it. And then when I first moved to the South, and we were in Atlanta, and somebody said they're going to make macaroni and cheese, and then they brought out this casserole dish. I was so disappointed because it's dry.
Oh my God.
It culturally is not what I was brought up eating.
Culturally?
Culturally. My culture is apparently...
Your culture is craft?
I may have been born in a trailer park.
Baby, we all grew up with craft.
Right.
And I love Velveeta shells and cheese, let's not lie.
Right.
But the real old school Southern mac and cheese is amazing.
Right. It's not what I grew up eating, so it doesn't fill my need for macaroni. And I like the idea of chili mac, but I don't want overly cooked noodles in my chili, which tends to always happen. You know, the noodles keep growing and they become immense, and it's just not great. So I like having my macaroni and cheese, a stovetop type, with very creamy, liquidy, when I go to Mexican restaurants, I'm one of those people who always orders queso because I just like the melted cheese.
And you get extra queso, actually. It's one that we can use for chips and one that you just douse all over all of your Mexican food.
That happens.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
So, because of that, my recipe is a stovetop, creamy type macaroni and cheese, not a baked macaroni and cheese.
And it's wonderful. We want comfort food right now.
Right. So, what I had thought of is, and I mentioned this earlier, is I was going to make some banana bread because we had bananas, and I know we have an hour to kill, and why not do something fun? All right.
Sierra wants to know where you're from, so why don't you tell a little about where you're from, where you're getting all that stuff out.
Okay, I'm from Fairbanks, Alaska. That's where I was born. Lived there until I was 17. When I was a senior in high school, my dad, his job had offered to move the family or allow him to keep his job if he's willing to move to Guam or Saudi Arabia, and having a couple teenage boys and a teenage daughter.
And a very vocal mother.
A what?
A very vocal mother.
A very vocal mother who is not likely to sit quietly in the background while being told what to do, which I'm sure everybody in chat can relate with. My dad decided, and my mom decided, that Guam would probably be a better place for us to be. All right, so I'm looking at the wrong recipe because I've got them up here. I'm going to cream 1 cup of butter, which is, if you're using butter, it's 2 sticks. Yeah, 2 sticks. Half a cup each. We're going to cream that with 2 cups of sugar and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And because I don't want to wear out my arm, I am going to use the KitchenAid for this, the mixer.
So, Sierra, just continuing, he lived in Guam for a long time.
Yes, lived in Guam for 15 years.
Yeah.
And then the family moved to Atlanta.
In 99, right?
In 99.
Yeah. But you didn't move to Atlanta, you moved to Japan.
Right, so let's see, when did we move? June? Something like that. But I won a scholarship to study in Japan, and anyway, the family moved. 3 months later, I went to Japan for 14 months to school. Yeah. And then I moved back to Atlanta and lived there for about 16 years.
And then I drug him to Seattle. Actually, he drugged me to Seattle.
We thought about it and agreed to go together.
That's right.
And then I drugged him.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have a question. Were you a fan of the China Hot Springs?
Yes. It's quite an interesting aroma at times.
Sierra says you've got a classy mixer.
Yes, Jeremy got it.
And Jerry wants to know, did you know that I also lived in Japan? Because I don't think we talk about that enough.
Oh, okay. About Jeremy, he's saying I mean Jeremy.
No.
Himself.
So Jerry's one of her favorite jokes is that I talk about living in Japan all the time because it's the most interesting thing about me and I've got nothing else going for me.
Right.
Sierra, we did not meet in Japan. We met in Atlanta, and one of the things that we started to like bond over when we first met was the fact that we had both lived in Japan. So that was a kind of a unique, coincidental thing about both of us. And we both had never met anybody else who had lived in Japan before, so we immediately kind of, you know, clicked for many reasons, that being one of them.
I should have taken this butter out to warm a little bit earlier. So this is going to be rough, and I'm going to like have to pour the sugar in and then like push it back in a little bit because the butter is going to be hard and the blade's going to have to like chop it down a bit.
So Jerry wants to ask, this is just to be clear, you're making banana bread, right?
I am making banana bread.
Yep.
So 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of sugar.
Yes, so Sierra, she says it's freaking adorbs that we both, you know, had the Japan experience. So I lived there for about twice as long as he did, and his Japanese is twice as good as mine. So that's infuriating. He did study it there. He was there to study it, so that's the whole reason.
Right. Jeremy was there to teach English, and I was there to study Japanese. But I had already studied Japanese in college for 14 years off and on, college and private classes and things like that.
High school, yeah.
And so I had a distinct leading advantage getting there. So Jeremy had more of a real experience being in a small town and learning it from nothing, whereas I went from having a, you know, probably an equivalent of a 3.5, 4 years experience like as a Japanese major in college to then go study in Japan. Yeah, I lived in basically Sierra, like the Alabama of Japan. It was the middle of nowhere, very rural. It was a rice farming community, shipbuilding community. All right, I'm going to just turn it this way so we can watch it pour in. I'm using the little guard just because it's easier and I won't spill. And that way if any of the stuff flies out, it won't hit me in the face. Notice I tend to try to measure off to the side because if you are measuring directly over what you're cooking and you spill, now everything's wrong. And particularly with baking, amounts matter a lot because it's a chemistry thing. And it won't set up or it won't go right if you don't have the right proportions. All right, and then I wanted to put in 2 tablespoons of vanilla, 2 teaspoons, not tablespoons, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And I made this vanilla myself. That one was a little short. I just took a couple vanilla beans, and in this case I used vodka, but you can make bourbon vanilla by filling a container with bourbon, slitting through a couple vanilla beans, put them in, and put it on the shelf for a couple months, weeks. And all the vanilla flavor will begin to leach out, but this was clear vodka when it started, and now it's brown like vanilla. So Janora says, I'm such an idiot. I've had a KitchenAid for a year and I didn't realize that's what the guard was for. Makes so much sense. Bless my heart. Whoops. Got to put this on straight. All right. Chopping the butter. Sierra says that I say rule like rule and my southern is showing. Sierra, thank you. I appreciate that. I take it as a compliment. I want my southern accent to, you know, still show its head here and there. Right? All right. So this is going to take a while to cream because the butter is cold. It would have been better to bring it to room temperature, but I just didn't think about it ahead. And this is what happens. No big deal. I'll show you what cream looks like. It just melts and becomes like a butter sugar paste when it's to that point. Tiffany's here! Hey, Tiffany! Your dad says he wants to hear a little Japanese from each of us so he can be the judge on who is better. So what should we say? 本当に二日酔いですよ。二日酔いですか？本当に。すごく今日は。今日。So,
What did I just say, David?
You just said, I'm really hungover. I'm hungover today. I'm really hungover.
And actually, that's not true. I'm not. But that's the first word I learned in Japanese was futsukayoi. It's the very first word I learned when I got there was futsukayoi.
All right, so futsu means two.
Yep. So kai means day.
All right.
And then what is yoi? The yoi part, because it's all kanji.
I need to read it. I don't remember now.
I think it means dry. I think the kanji for it means dry. So it's second day dry. So like I'm really like you have no you're dehydrated essentially.
Right.
I think that's what the kanji literally translates to. It means I'm hungover.
If we have people here, don't want to forget, got to stir the chili occasionally so it doesn't overly burn. Oh, I forgot the secret ingredient.
Dun, dun,
Secret ingredient for the chili.
Is it bourbon?
It is not bourbon. It is very strong coffee. Now this I am pouring directly over because if I get a little more than a quarter of a cup, I don't care.
So that's espresso blend coffee that I made this morning. And how much did you put in?
I put in about a quarter cup. Just scraping down the sides of the pan. All right. So it smells great in here. Now, back to the banana bread. I have creamed the butter and the sugar, and that's what it looks like. All right, this is hard to do from the other side. I usually do this from the front. I'm going to have to... There we go. Re-anchor that down, and so now what I'm going to do is we'll add 4 eggs, one at a time, and mix them in to the mix. Okay.
Sierra says she thought the secret ingredient would have been dark chocolate. Do you love mole? And actually, Sierra, David makes an amazing mole.
Yeah. So I do use chocolate sometimes, but I normally actually use it in pasta rather than in chili. I like the...
In your red sauce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the red sauce. When we're going to do that in
a couple weeks.
In a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His pasta sauce is particularly good, I have to say.
Yeah. So I said...
But your mole is good. You remember you used to make that mole chicken all the time?
Right. I actually had frozen some mole, but we just used it.
That was me dropping a hint to make mole chicken.
Oh, okay. Well, we can make mole. Mole. All right, so 1 egg in, mixing. Once it's well incorporated, we'll add the second egg. Third egg. 4 eggs total.
Jerry says, oh, that red white pasta sauce, because she's had it before.
All right.
Sierra is way motivated to come visit me so she can cook with you now.
Okay.
Sierra, I will let you two cook. I will watch.
All right. All right, so it's now... It's now kind of like soupy with the egg in it, but that's what it should be. So at this point, I'm actually going to add the banana bits and put that in, and then I'm going to add the flour. Because once you add flour to it, banana bread is actually quick bread, which means that it's using the baking soda to rise that you add to it. And when you add flour to something and you mix it, if you mix it a lot, then you start developing gluten in it, and the way that if you've ever messed with bread or pizza dough and it like holds together, that's not the texture that we want out of this. So we don't want gummy, chewy banana bread. We want kind of like a nice light loaf on the inside. So I'm going to just turn this way for ease. And what I've done is when bananas start to go brown and they're too dark to want to eat them, I toss them in the freezer. And what that does is it, anyway, they turn black like this. But then it's very easy to cream them and add them to your banana bread. So, here you go, Josh. This is nice and gross looking.
For Josh?
Overripe bananas are better in banana bread than yellow or green bananas. So,
yeah, Josh has been cooking a lot lately.
yeah. Can you see?
You can. They look disgusting.
Ew. Might as well enjoy it, right? It tastes great in the end.
That's true.
It's such a strong banana smell, it's pretty shocking.
Cleaning as you go. It's my favorite thing.
Okay, stir the chili.
So remind us, because I think I was talking a lot when you were putting the beans in. How many different cans of beans did you put in that chili?
In this case, I just put 3. 3 cans of beans, 2 cans of tomato product. I like crushed tomatoes best typically, or tomato puree. It adds a little body to the chili. Tomato sauce, it just makes it runny, and then you have to thicken it more. And having more of the tomato fiber intact makes the body of the chili better. All right, so the bananas are in the mixer. I'm going to just mix it up real quick to break it all up and incorporate it. All right, and I also am going to use this. So I want a cup of sour cream, and because I'm me, I made my own sour cream.
He sure did, fellas.
All right, I want a little spatula.
He was very excited about this too, by the way.
And it's super easy. Homemade! Who knew? Basically what you do is you take heavy cream. You want not ultra pasteurized if you can avoid it. Not quite enough. I guess I'll have to use some store-bought just to finish it off.
Store-bought sour cream?
I know. Actually, I'm going to use creme fraiche because it has a nuttier, more interesting flavor.
Well, now we're back to where we need to be.
Creme fraiche is a cultured sour cream, so it has a richer, nuttier flavor, more common in France and America. But basically, you take your heavy cream, mix in, you want pasteurized, not ultra pasteurized if possible. You mix in 2 big tablespoons of buttermilk, and then you set it on the counter overnight, which, you know, seems scary, but the point is that's how you make it.
And your favorite chef, Laura Calder, uses creme fraiche a lot, right?
All the time and almost everything. That requires, any place that you would use sour cream, you can use creme fraiche. There we go.
Laura Calder reminds me of Monica Newton. Sierra and Carrie Lehman will know that reference. Actually, Tiffany will as well. Yeah, Monica Newton is basically the spitting image of Laura Calder. They're the same
Personality.
Personality is the same. Yeah.
Yes. All right, so now we'll mix this in, and then we're going to sift together.
Sarah Kate. So Sarah Kate, may I just say, your Instagram captions remain my favorite of anyone's I've seen. She says that sour cream and mayonnaise, they're
what?
Hold on. Sorry, I gotta make sure I get this right. It's really just too good. Sarah Kate says, I think sour cream and mayonnaise-based products are the closest thing I have to a culture.
That's hilarious. I'm going to turn the oven on at 350.
Just flows from that one, just flows.
To heat. I'm going to use a bundt pan to make mine instead of a loaf pan because it's a little narrower, but you get heat all the way around, and with a loaf pan the inside can tend to not cook very well, so you get this ribbon of uncooked dough batter through the middle, and this is a little better because the heat will come up through the middle and through the outside, and it will help everything cook a little more evenly. Just going to lightly put some oil on it.
Oh. Carrie says, we so white, we love all white-based foods. Hashtag ranch. David Spake loves
ranch.
Loves ranch.
Have you ever made ranch at home? It's really good. You can control it, you know, a little better.
Carrie, just so you know, and Sarah Kate, you'll probably appreciate this. My favorite salad dressing is Thousand Island. Boom!
Maybe we should have like a special class one day on making salad dressings. Actually, that sounds like a fun idea.
That does sound like a fun idea. Actually, David Spake makes a great Thousand Island. I'm very ashamed of that. I want everyone here who can hear my voice to know how ashamed I am that I love Thousand Island. But I'm actually not ashamed. I love it with bacon bits and a yeast roll. Yes. I am from Martin, Tennessee. Let's not forget this, okay?
I didn't have a separate 1 cup measuring cup to put into the flour, so I have to wash it so we don't cross-contaminate. All right. I'm going to put 3 1/3 cup flour. I'll type the recipe up and put it on davidspake.com tonight.
What was that again?
davidspake.com.
One more time.
davidspake.com.
For the cheap seats.
Over the counter with David's website is davidspake.com.
Sarah Kate says, when she worked at Spaghetti Warehouse, first of all, I want stories about that, and I want to hear about your outfit. When I worked at Spaghetti Warehouse, I could spot from a mile away who would order the 1,000 on their salad. Sarah says, yes, please, teach us the dressings.
Okay. So, 3 1/3 cup flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda.
Sarah Kate, in the chat, please give us a description, if you will, of some adjectives that would have helped you to identify the 1,000.
She asked me?
No, I'm asking her. I'm asking her to include in the chat. She said she could spot somebody, right? Who's going to order that salad dressing. I want some adjectives that first come to mind. Like, if she were to see someone who looked blah, 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 they would be the 1,000.
Yeah.
Because I'm the 1,000, just so you know, Sarah Kate. I'm that guy.
So while she's thinking of descriptors, I'm going to put in a teaspoon of salt. This is actually a rough grind of salt. It's one of the types of kosher salt. Some of them have big flakes, some of them have small. If you have small flakes in it, you can use it as 1-for-1 for normal salt. If you have the kosher salt and you're deciding to use that as your seasoning, the big flakes take up space and have a lot of empty room between them. So you're going to want to put about 1.5 of the big flakes, if you're doing a small amount, 1.5 to 2 times as much salt, because there's actually a lot of air in your spoon. All right. So sift this together. I used to have a sifter. until I realized this is so much faster.
What is that? That's not a sifter?
Well, it's a sieve, but
Wait, that's not a sifter? What's it? What are you talking about?
so a sifter, an actual sifter, is typically a round thing like this and has a handle on it. You go.
Oh,
and
right.
Sifts
Like
out.
the powdered sugar on French toast.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So using this, it's the same screen size, is on an actual sifter, and as you can see, it's a heck of a lot faster. So now I'm actually going to take this out and do it by hand, because I don't want to overmix it. What's so funny?
Sarah gave us her descriptors.
Okay.
VBO, meaning visible belly outline.
Right.
A trucker had a decade before Ashton Kutcher. Agreed. And accompanied by kids with home haircuts. These are all great. I mean, that would really spell it out for me too.
Yeah.
Visible belly outlines is good.
All right.
So we do have a sifter? You just like that better?
I don't know if I still have it. I think I got rid of it when we moved.
Gotcha.
Because I didn't use it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just mix to incorporate by hand because I want to stir it as little as is possible.
Sierra would like to see the batter in the bowl, please.
Oh, sure. Before the flour.
At all stages.
At all stages. So, squishing. All right. Just add in all of the batter that's stuck to the blade. I guess it is a mixing blade.
The wet.
Can we see? So it's very light and creamy, watery looking with chunks of banana. So I'm just going to kind of left arm weak. All right. I'm going to just actually kind of fold it in. Mix and fold. So folding, mixing technique. I don't really need to do it per se, but I just don't want to over mix the flour. So folding is cutting down the middle and then bringing up from the bottom and rolling over the top. I could just normal mix it, but I'm kind of alternating.
Hey David.
Yes?
So Varnished Tons, turns out that's Teo, my roommate from college.
Hey.
Teo, I'm so glad to see you here. And we talked on Zoom the other day, that was awesome. He says, please thank David for doing this. We just finished our first bowl. They were cooking on East Coast time, and it was delicious.
Oh.
His wife said your chili is restaurant quality.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you, Teo. That's awesome feedback. And by the way, I agree. His chili is fucking amazing.
Yes. Okay.
Also, Teo, I'm so glad to hear from you, man.
All right, banana. Okay, just gonna pour this guy into the pan. Gonna work my way around a little. Ugh. Okay. Ew. I laid the spatula down in the batter accidentally.
Sierra says your batter is freaking gorgeous.
Oh, is it? This is actually my very first time to make this recipe. One of my coworkers, Kristie, it's her family recipe that they do. And I asked her for it and she gave it to me, so here we go.
But you've made banana plenty before.
Sure.
Yeah. Does this differ from how you normally make it?
This is more just because this is a sour cream version, and I know that the ratios work right and it tastes really good. So yeah. I'm going to do a quick little touch up around the pan with a paper towel and clean up these bits.
Oh gosh, it's like music to my ears, cleaning as you go.
No, I did put I had a moment of panic. I thought I had not put the baking soda in. I was like, oh no.
Oh no. Would you have said darn?
Probably.
So your mother, when she said that your word of the day that we were going to watch out for, that you said, and if you did say it we would be drinking, was darn, and you have yet to say it. But I've been drinking anyway, so it's fine.
Okay, the oven warm. Yep, the oven. So the oven's still preheating, so we're going to just let this sit for a few minutes. Shouldn't take long now. I want to wait till the oven's at temperature, firmly at temperature, because when I open the door, some of the heat's going to come out, and it's not going to be that exactly right. So it gives us a moment to do a little cleanup.
Oh, music to my ears. So our typical kind of like division of labor in the Spake household is David cooks, I clean. And usually it turns out to be cleaning is the more arduous part of it because he makes such a mess. So we've had lots of conversations about how to baby clean as we go. And look at him. Look at this. Look at this beautiful, beautiful man cleaning as he goes.
Yeah. I'm glad the chili worked out for you.
Yeah, me too,
and that was good. You know, one of the things I think that sets, just in general, the way I cook apart from most people, particularly for savory food, is I use a lot more seasoning than the average recipe tends to call for.
Yeah, that you do use a lot of seasoning, but I like that. I think what you make is usually like super flavorful, and it's very, I prefer it that way.
Right. I mean, we don't live like when the East India Trading Company was controlling the spice trade and made all of Europe, you know, high-class Europe rich. Spices aren't dear in being like worth more than gold anymore typically. So I say, if you enjoy the flavor, add a little more.
It's right. I'm always for more of everything.
Right? So here's our pre-cooked banana bread and its little bowl.
It looks great.
Yeah.
He said darn.
I did say darn just now under my breath.
Drink.
And the reason is I had made bacon earlier, and I had put the pan in the oven because it was still smoking a little bit, and I didn't want to smoke the house out. So there's now warm bacon grease.
So appetizing.
I know, right?
Warm bacon grease. I bet Belle would love that. How's the chili smell, babe?
Chili smells great. You
Nice.
want to sneak a bite?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I'll wait.
All right. So this we'll cook at 350 for about an hour. I'm going to put it in now.
So Teo said that he did add some heat to your chili. He added cayenne and red pepper flakes and some hot sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I put that on the recipe that if you like it hotter, specifically to use red pepper flakes, I believe, or cayenne pepper.
Sierra wants to know that she says that she likes your skillet collection. Well, she said skillet collection.
Yeah.
Is it from Lodge?
Most of it is. A couple of them, like this pan that I just took out that's 350 degrees now, it is not a Lodge pan, but all the rest of them are. The nice thing about cast iron in particular is if you still have the pan and the inside surface is generally okay, even if it's rusted, you can save that pan. It's just a hunk of iron. All you have to do is to clean it. In that case, you'd want to strip it really well, clean it, you know, get the rust off the surface, put a light coat of oil around it. What? And then put that actually in the oven, like on the cleaning setting. And just let the oven clean your pan. It'll be, you know, you can buy them at a thrift shop or off the street at a garage sale. You don't have to worry where it's been. You're going to be really disinfecting it, and then run it through the cleaning cycle. Pull it out, and you have a fully seasoned cast iron skillet.
And Sierra is proud that you have your Tennessee Lodge pride happening here. Because
Yes.
your Lodge is all from Tennessee.
Yes, I actually have more. I've got this Dutch oven. I have another Dutch oven. I've got a tabletop griddle that goes over a couple burners so you can like have a big space to like make pancakes. So I have not set the alarm. Could you set an alarm for about 50 minutes and then we'll check the banana bread at that point?
50-50?
5-0.
Done.
It's supposed to cook for an hour, but I want to check on it and I don't want to forget. Where's my phone?
I got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Macaroni and cheese. I'm going to put the water back on the left burner, put the chili over on the right, and let it just keep going a little bit. I did that because this is a hotter burner.
I believe it's time for more champagne.
Is it?
What is it Bianca always says? Wait, real pain for my friends, champagne for my real friends? That Bianca. Thanks, love.
Alrighty. Don't worry, for those of you who came late, we have more champagne. So, I prefer these type of noodles for making my macaroni and cheese. I'm going to come around the counter.
Do it. Do it. Sierra is friends with the Lodge family, but she doesn't even get anything for free.
Yeah. So, left and right. So I like these little curly noodles. Can you see it? Trying to get it in a place where it can be seen. There's a light right here. Can you tell?
Yeah.
This is in front of the counter with David Spake. Anyway, so I like these noodles. They have a number of names. I've listed some of the names on the recipe. This is cavatappi. There's other words, but it's a double spiral macaroni. You can't really maybe see it there, but it's got a great texture on it. It actually has ridges on the noodle, and I like that. And I like it because the ridges, after they're cooked, actually the cheese sauce like sticks in the ridges and it sticks to the noodles. It's great if you have a thinner sauce and you want it to stick to your pasta. If you have a flat pasta and a thin sauce, it'll just like slide off as you pull the pasta out. Ridged pasta will hold on to more sauce. And in this case, our sauce is cream and cheese. All right, make sure this is up.
Great ingredients.
I'm going to rinse out the bowl that I put the flour in. Give it a quick dry here. All right. One rag over here for wiping the counters. Another rag for drying wet things. All right. All right, so we're going to make the sauce for the macaroni and cheese. It's actually a type of a custard. It's a very loose custard. It's not like eating pudding or chocolate pudding or lemon custard. It's not quite that thick, but it's a custard because it's milk with egg in it, and that's the basis for what a custard is. So I'm going to grab things.
What things are you grabbing?
All right, so it needs about 5-6 ounces of evaporated milk. And if you can find the little cans, that's exactly perfect in one can. But I couldn't find them, so I've got a big can for it. Doesn't have to be this brand. I typically want the fat because cheddar cheese and Gouda are not great melting cheeses. They'll melt, but then they get kind of greasy and fall apart. It happens a lot on nachos and stuff. You'll notice that once it starts to cool, the cheese kind of looks congealed. So you need the added like liquid fat to be able to, for that to melt into and to support and to have a good texture. Otherwise it'll taste a little grainy. So that's why we're using this. Evaporated milk is milk, whole milk, that they put on a stove and put on a simmer and evaporated literally half the water out of it. So it's concentrated milk. So we're going to need that. We're going to need about half this can. We're going to need 2 eggs. All right. Let's put that there for now. Don't fall off. Don't roll. Let's see, 2 eggs, 5 ounces of evaporated milk. Going to use a teaspoon of ancho chili powder, half a teaspoon of paprika, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, all in this bowl.
Sean says that she thinks bacon smoked banana bread would be a good idea, and Jerry agrees.
Yes. Salt and pepper. I'm going to use this pepper for this. Chili powder. All right. So I love ancho chili powder. It's one of my favorite go-to spices. Am I cleaner?
You got a little white dot or something on the middle of your shirt. There you go.
Oh wait, I should just, here.
Just take it off.
I should, yeah. Oh, where is that apron?
Why don't you just take it off? Oh, put your apron on.
I should have done this earlier.
You should have. You have a great apron collection, by the way, babe. You should be rocking those. You should be rocking those more often.
So I will be Captain America cook today.
Abby gave you this, right?
Who?
Abby.
Did she? I didn't remember who.
Yeah.
All right. There we go.
Perfect.
So, teaspoon of ancho chili powder. You can use just normal chili powder if you need to. Garlic powder. The water is boiling. I'm going to put the pasta in. It needs to boil this type of pasta, I think, 11 minutes. The information's on your box. You just want to bring it to al dente. 1 pound of pasta, 6 quarts of water, salt to taste, and oh, these are 8-minute noodles. So I'm going to get the sauce ready and then boil the pasta. I thought I'd have like 10 minutes.
Carrie's calling you America's ass.
Ass?
Uh-huh. Because you got a big booty.
Ah. Let's see, I said a half a teaspoon of garlic. I'm going to actually put in a little bit of black pepper. About 1/4 of a teaspoon. And then paprika, half a teaspoon, and then I need a couple more things. It's not baking, you don't have to be exactly precise. I have the onion powder out, I'm going to use it. Cayenne pepper. What now? What's so funny? What's going on, Jeremy?
Nothing. Someone just said, what am I doing with my life? How did I end up here? I don't know who it is.
I don't know, but you're living my best moment.
Great questions.
Okay, I need, one thing I forgot to mention when I was mustard powder. I'm going to put in a teaspoon. You can use a wet mustard if you have to. It's just, I would use probably 2 teaspoons if I was using a wet mustard, but I'm using a dry mustard. Put in about a teaspoon. All right, now I need my whisk. I need to remember where I put it. Okay. I'm going to add this to the water now. You don't want to add oil to the pasta. It'll make it so that the sauce doesn't stick as well. And in this case, it's not going to be sitting in the pan uneaten. It's going to be mixed into this composed thing altogether. So, half of the can of milk. So let's see, 5 ounces is a half a cup. And that's why you shouldn't pour directly over if it matters. But, and then a little more, so a half a cup is 4 ounces, so another 1/4 of a half. Anyway, good enough. Now I'm going to mix in my eggs. I'm actually going to check and make sure that they're not disgusting and spoiled and not open them in the middle of the pot. And this way I can make sure if I get any shells in, I can dig them out. Mix this up. What? Cleaning as I go a little. Let's see what else. Now we need, make sure this is boiling. Of course, I did not set a timer. I'm going to say that that was 2 minutes. We'll check the noodles in 6 and see how they're doing. Now I need the cheeses for the macaroni and cheese. I'm going to use...
Belle just woke up.
Okay. I've got an 8-ounce thing of cheddar pre-grated. Save myself a little effort. It's a convenience laziness.
MM Lion says, I'm feeling like the kid who watches other kids play on YouTube.
Oh.
Exactly.
But the difference is, not hot. Now I actually had something to say. But you can, on YouTube, if you watch the kids on YouTube, usually it's somebody who's really good who does something you can't. I'm not doing anything here.
It's Margie, by the way.
Oh, Margie, I'm only doing things that I think are pretty easy to do on your own. All right. Pasta's going. How much was this? Half a pound. So, minus the wax outside.
Well, I have to say this champagne is fantastic.
Isn't it great?
It's pretty great. You're not drinking yours though, so it's about to be stolen.
Oh, is it now?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to cut the rind off the side of the cheese.
Flynn the Beast says, nice hair, thinking I might get a cut like that.
Awesome. I love it.
Your haircut?
Yeah.
I also love your haircut.
All right. Just taking the wax rind off. You can use any cheese you like. I just happen to love Gouda, so that's the cheese I'm using. You can use this kind of a grater if you want, or one of the big pyramid type, or rhombus, or whatever it is.
Carrie Lehman says that she's feeding her sourdough starter right now.
Oh, fun.
Do you have a good sourdough bread recipe?
I do. I can find it.
Yeah, actually, Carrie, he's doing that right now too.
I have sourdough starter in the fridge. I started making starter a couple weeks ago, and as long as you take it out every 7 to 10 days, pour off half, put in another equal amount of water and flour, and refeed it. Set it out overnight. Put it back in the fridge. You can keep it forever.
And Carrie says, did I ask that last week? And Carrie, even if you did, who cares? Because I don't remember yesterday, so it's fine.
Right. So I was saying about cheese. You can use any cheese you like. This is 9-month, I think, aged Gouda, so it's hard, but it's not really firm. Cheese, Gouda in particular, aged longer than that, gets really hard and it crumbles rather than grates. So you actually want a slightly newer one. I like using not smoked cheese because if I'm going to add smoke, I'd rather use paprika and be able to control how much smoke flavor I add. And if you're using a smoked Gouda, there's no way to really bring that back. All right.
You have a question, HLSNAPZZ, I'm not sure who that is, but anyway, wants to know, what's your favorite book on the bookshelf over there? And I know mine, but you tell yours.
I just glancing. I'm not sure. Probably, but from what I've read or what I've looked through, it would probably be the pinball encyclopedias and books of that nature.
So those of you who don't know, David Spake loves pinball and pinball machines and is an avid pinball machine collector. How many did you have when I first met you?
I had 8 fully working machines and then another project group in the garage of 5 or 6 more.
That's right. Yeah, we're talking over 10.
Yes.
So for Christmas one year, I got him the set. Like there's this set of pinball encyclopedias which goes through like the history of pinball machines and all the different pinball machines that have been made over the centuries they've been around, which I did not know that it was how vast that history is. But anyway, he loves them. He loves them.
Yeah.
And right now in our apartment, we have a pinball machine that he got me for Christmas one year. It's a Dolly Parton pinball machine.
Yeah. Doing a little cleanup on this side. All right. So we've got the custard base done. We've got the cheeses grated and ready to go, but not quite. There's actually, I'm going to just scoot this over off to the side.
I love that move. That move was amazing. Do it again. Not quite.
You don't mean the move of the cheese, you meant the move of my butter.
I meant your little sassy pose.
Yeah. The guilty secret of good macaroni and cheese, and if you're from the South, you already know this, and if you've made macaroni and cheese, is oh no. Well, I'm going to have to improvise. Mine is not fresh. Apparently the package opened and it's bad. So, I'm going to make do with the cheeses I have, but I would recommend that you put in about 4 ounces of Velveeta because it really helps bring together the cheeses and helps get past the grainy problem that I was mentioning before. But mine doesn't look so hot. So, brand new pack, I expected it to be beautiful, but it wasn't.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
All right, so let's try the noodles. I might actually grate a little more cheese to add to it. And, that's the way it goes. Sometimes cooking, things work. Sometimes they don't. Don't need to panic. Just look around and see what you might be able to do to modify it and help it out.
There you go. Good attitude.
All right, not done. We're going to put them in for another minute, maybe 2.
For paprika, do you have to use smoked paprika?
I don't use smoked paprika most of the time. I have hot paprika, which is a little spicier, and I've got the normal sweet paprika, and I have smoked. I personally am not a huge fan of overly smoky things, especially if it's something that I might want to eat a lot of, like macaroni and cheese. So I'm going to find another bit of cheese to add to this to bring it up to the amount I want. You want to show them your book?
Teo asked what my favorite book is, so here you go. If you can see that. Ooh! Temple of the Golden Pavilion by Mishima. And not only is my favorite book I've ever read, it's my actual favorite physical book because I found it at a thrift store. It's a first edition and I got it for $10 and it's worth probably like $200. So yay.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, and Sean wants to know what kind of champagne are you drinking today? And I actually don't know, David. What did you buy?
So the first one was actually Prosecco.
Okay.
Which is very like champagne, except doesn't come from the Champagne region of France. And champagne tends to have slightly smaller bubbles, but I'm not that picky. So this one is Cuvée, I don't know how to read this word. Beatrice?
Probably.
Yeah, C-U-V-E with an accent E, and then Beatrice. All right, so we have more champagne.
Yeah,
don't we?
I think you should open that.
Actually, we have more Prosecco.
Okay, what's this one?
So this one is Mille. Or Mille.
Where did you get these?
I got these at Whole Foods, actually.
Yeah.
It's one of the few fully stocked grocery stores in Seattle.
Whole Foods.
Whole Foods, so that's where I went shopping.
And Pike Place.
And Pike Place Market's open. Like to support those guys, so get all the produce you might see over here on the edge of the camera. Came from Pike Market.
Margie says your sister and her used to make macaroni and cheese all the time when they were kids.
Yes. Yes, Kraft.
I love Kraft mac and cheese, I'm not gonna lie. You know what I used to do when I would come home from like high school, which are for like, I'm feeling super nostalgic lately. We've got some high school people from friends of mine on the chat. So when I would come home from high school and I was really hungry in the middle of the afternoon, I would make myself Kraft mac and cheese and a can of Bush's baked beans, and I would mix them together and eat them, and I love that. Still today, I love that.
This is why I actually have a rounded cheese grater so that I can use a corner of an actual block of cheese. Anyway, and I've got the wax to help protect my fingers a little bit. Not quite as bad as a mandolin, but I have grated my fingers before and my knuckles. Not bad enough to go to a hospital though. All right. Check the pasta again. Hot. Still a tad chewy. Another minute. For the macaroni though, get this cheese out from. Just like when you do Kraft, you have to put some butter on it, in the noodles with your milk and the cheese powder. We've got the milk, the butter, and the cheese. I'm going to actually want 4 tablespoons because I'm doing a whole pound of macaroni.
And Sean says mac and cheese is the comfort food of childhood. I agree. It really is.
So much.
Yeah.
I love it, and it's great at a time like this.
Right. We've been wanting comfort food a lot lately, so this kind of stuff is awesome.
Yeah. So half a stick of butter is 4 tablespoons. Or also a 1/4 cup if you're measuring like margarine or something. If you don't have actual butter, it's fine.
Okay.
Here, Jeremy.
Oh, thank you, baby.
Long arm pouring.
That's a good stretch.
Good thing you've been doing yoga.
I have been, thank you.
I'm gonna have some of this.
Margie says, you didn't just say margarine.
I did. Because not everybody has butter. Or they were brought up eating margarine. So, it's all good.
Naked yoga, says Jerry. Jerry, I couldn't agree more, which is why I love doing it at home.
All right, let's
There are
try
some
this.
good benefits of the global pandemic, and that is learning how to do yoga at home.
Yeah. I'm gonna just set this.
Margie says that you used to call her that margarine.
Oh, I would not doubt it. Okay. So.
Sean wants us to do a show called Gourmet Yoga.
All right, now it's good. So, I love these inset strainer pots. Makes my life a lot easier. Turn the heat off. So one of the things I'm sure people have been wondering about is how is that egg in the cream sauce going to cook?
I have been on pins and needles.
Have you? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pour the water out. I don't want to rinse the macaroni because it'll make it cold. and that'll defeat the whole purpose. I'm going to take the pot, put it halfway on the burner, because I want some heat to still come back through. Okay. All right, so let me see. Deal with that later. I'm going to put in my 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to give it a good stir. Until the butter melts. Is that visible even? Try it. I don't know what angles work.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, tilt it up a little bit more. There you go. That's a little better.
All right.
Still a little hard to see.
Actually, let's move it over here.
Well, now we're cooking with the gas.
Now we're cooking not on electric. Remind me that I left the burner on. All right, butter's melted. I'm going to give this a quick stir and pour the cream base in. And I want to mix this now. And the heat from the pan and the heat from the noodles, the sauce is already sticking to the bottom a little, is going to cook the egg. And I'm going to put it back on the stove for a minute, just to add a little heat, and let this go. Stirring so that you don't end up with scrambled eggs in the bottom. It still will be liquidy. That's the nature of a custard. But I'm going to add the cheddar cheese. And I'm going to add all the cheese that I grated. And then mix until milky goodness.
Until, what did you say? Milty?
Melty.
Melty goodness?
Yeah. Because I don't have Velveeta in here to help bind the cheeses together, I'm going to maybe want that thing of cream so I can add, or the evaporated milk. So that, see how the cheese is still kind of clumpy looking?
Margie wants to know if the recipe will be posted.
It is posted already on davidspake.com.
What was that again?
davidspake.com.
One more time?
davidspake.com.
And for the kids in the back.
Josh, it's davidspake.com.
Attaboy.
All right, we're getting there. So now, want to check the salt and pepper. The cheese has had salt, so I didn't add a lot of salt into the mix that I used, right? So now I'm going to just put this on the heat to help it keep melting. But I want to try it just to make sure if I need more salt or pepper. Here, Jeremy, why don't you try it?
Okay.
If I can spear a noodle.
Thanks, love.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, that's so good.
I gotta try it too.
Oh, it's really good. I really like the little kick to it.
Right?
Yeah.
The peppers, the chili powder, and the paprika, a little bit of cayenne adds a little heat, and actually the mustard powder kind of gives you just the slightest underhint
It's delicious.
of the flavor that you would get from horseradish.
It's delicious. It's like really good, cheesy, gooey mac and cheese with a little spice to it. It's incredible.
And the Velveeta has quite a bit of salt in it, which is missing, so I'm going to just add a little more. And it's otherwise perfect. Alrighty, there we go, look at that, no more clumps. Just see the melty cheese stringing from the stretchy melty cheese sauce. This is excellent macaroni and cheese, and I do say so myself.
It truly is great.
Is anybody hungry yet? All right. Would you like a bowl of macaroni and cheese and chili?
I'm gonna, no, I'm gonna wait. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding. Of course I want one. What are you talking about?
All right. Just giving the chili a turn.
Carrie says she wants one too. Hey Carrie, no fear. I'm gonna overnight one to you, okay?
All right. Do you want them both in the same bowl, or do you want separate?
So I want a base of mac and cheese with chili on top of it. That's what I want. There you go. Yes. That's plenty. That's plenty. That's plenty. Perfect. That's perfect. Now the big question though is, should I eat it with a fork or a spoon?
I would actually, a spork would be perfect.
A spork. Why don't we have any sporks?
I know, right?
Why don't you invent a spork, Spake?
Invent one?
Or make a Spake spork?
Spake spork? We'll just put in, how much chili do you want? Same amount?
Yeah, like, 50-50. I think I'm gonna go spoon. Sierra and Carrie both say spoon, and I agree.
Yeah.
Yay me.
Yay you. Do you want me to, you want any
This
fresh,
Saturday's-
like green onions or anything chopped up on it?
Well, actually, yes. I would love that.
I mean, if you're offering, I'm not turning down a fresh scallion.
Right?
And I think I maybe want some creme fraiche situation.
Okay.
Yep.
Creme fraiche.
And Sierra wants to know,
sour
Sierra
cream.
has a very serious question, and I also want to know, where are we with the banana bread at this point?
How much time is left?
So you asked me to set a timer, which by the way, I did not do. But I do know that it's supposed to go off at 1:30. It is now 1:12.
Okay.
Because you asked me to set a 50-minute timer 50 at 12:40. So it
Okay.
is now 1:12. I knew internally my timer's on. I just don't have any, device
buzzes.
to remind me.
Yeah. All right. And a thing of creme fraiche?
I would love a little dollop of creme fraiche.
A little dab will do ya.
A little dab will do ya. Actually just a small, that's maybe like half that. Maybe like half that. Yeah.
Attaboy.
You sure that's all you want?
That's perfect. Yeah, it's so already so like gooey with the macaroni and cheese.
That's true. It's just the flavor is so good.
It is so good.
Yeah. Oi! Oi!
Thanks, babes.
Yep.
Well, hold on. We should show this beautiful concoction
Yeah, come
that you just
around.
made for me.
You should see this. Hold on.
Show the composed bowl that he's kind of mixed a little bit.
I've mixed it a little bit already, but come on. Look at that. Gooey goodness.
All right. So, how is...
Sierra says this has been such a nice time. And Margie says, it's nice to see teamwork during this time. Not sure my husband will make it out unscathed. Well, just so everyone knows, tomorrow we'll be beginning week 7 of us in quarantine, meaning we really haven't left our apartment beyond going for walks, going for drives.
But not even walks much.
And going to the grocery store and stuff. So it's not been all roses. I would say the first 4 weeks we were fine, and it was like a novelty. Week 5 was a little tumultuous. We were both getting a little stir crazy. We were both getting a little antsy. Mm-hmm. We were both getting a little kind of like irritable with each other. But nothing major. We talked it out. We were fine. And then this week has been fine too.
Yeah.
We're okay. We want to leave our apartment.
To do more than stand in line to get into a grocery store.
Yeah, I miss life. I really do. It's pretty terrible.
All right, so I did check on the banana bread, It's still jiggly. I don't want to mess with it, but it's filled up the entire pan. I guess we could move the camera and look through.
Let's do it. Well, I mean, I'm eating my chili right now.
Oh, well, eat your chili. I'll eat some chili, and we'll do that in a minute.
No, babe, I'm joking. I'm totally joking. Let's do that. What do you want me to do now?
Oh, I was just going to say, move the tripod.
Okay.
I'll open the oven, and hopefully people can see.
Well, let's do it.
What the banana bread's looking like.
I mean, I got to earn my keep, right?
Right?
Okay, so what do I need to do here?
There we go. Hold on. Dun, dun, dun. I would like to be nominated for Best Grip.
Best grip.
Best Grip. Look at that view. Would you
Jerry.
just... Okay.
What? Oh, you already looked, right?
Was that it?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to show the state. All right. I'll stand here and look kind of purdy while he gets the camera repositioned.
Do I have it right where you wanted it? I think this is where we were. Ish.
Plus or minus.
Heavy on the ish.
Want to flip that back around so I can...
Okay.
All right, I'm going to have a little bowl. Got to wait for the macaroni to... Not macaroni, the banana bread.
Everyone says beautiful, and the bonus peek at David's slippers. Which slippers are you wearing right now?
The ones that my sister gave me.
Or those are the blue ones
Yeah.
from his sister Deanna for Christmas.
Yep. Mmm. Gooey, cheesy.
This chili macaroni and cheese situation is incredible.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Here's my little bowl. I'm not a huge fan of scallions raw, but I do want some creme fraiche, and then I'm going to be blasphemous. Makes Jeremy so uncomfortable. Because
Don't do it. Oh, don't do it. Are you going to do what I think you're going to do?
Yes, I'm going to.
I hate when you do this. Don't do this. No, God, it's going to hurt my heart. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. No. You're so gross. So gross.
I love the cool sweetness of the ketchup.
Cool sweetness. Mm-hmm.
Balancing. These
Margie says
spicy-
no. I agree with you, Margie. I know it's so gross. Yes,
We're
I
all
know.
country in our own way. Baby.
Tina says it too. No way. I know, you guys. I know. Don't look. Everyone avert your eyes. It's disgusting. I agree.
But see, I only did it to my bowl.
Jerry says, "Ew, David."
You, David.
I know, guys. It's so gross. He loves it. He loves it.
It's not a whole lot.
It's pretty gross. It's just so good as it is. I don't know why you would mess it up like that.
It's childhood habits. It's the same reason that I like creamy macaroni and cheese from a pot. It's a childhood thing that's left over.
So gross. Teo says
So good.
cringe is right. I agree with you, Teo. We like what we like, I guess. I mean, who am I to talk? I love Felsenau and dressing.
Right?
Oh, and Margie says, I bet you put ketchup on your eggs. Actually, David, do you? I don't think
No.
you don't, do you?
No, I like ketchup on potato products, and I like ketchup on chili.
I like hot
Not
sauce.
baked potato, but like
I
hash
like,
browns.
I like hot sauce on my eggs, but not ketchup.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Want me to go back over anything?
Lance says he would add ketchup and maybe a bit of Tabasco.
We do have hot sauces too, Jimmy.
Oh, I don't want any. I think this is good for me as it is.
Right? But
And by the way, hi, Lance.
I'm also eating in part to give myself time.
You've got 10
Banana
minutes
bread's
till
done.
your banana bread's done.
Probably going to need to, based on what I saw, it's very jiggly, the banana bread. So I want it to like firm up. So it might take a little longer.
Jake says he's team ketchup on eggs.
So
Sean wants to know if I like ketchup on anything. And yes, I do. I love ketchup on hash browns. But that's kind of it.
burgers.
Oh, I like it on burgers, but I very rarely eat a burger. Every once in a while, I just crave a burger. But yeah, and when I do, you're right. I want ketchup on it.
Yeah. That really is shockingly good.
Wait, David, how's your own cooking?
My own cooking is amazing, as it turns out.
What's your favorite meal, David? Is it one that you cooked again?
Yeah, when I cook. If I'm going out to eat, in Atlanta, my favorite steak place with Kevin Rathman's, one we talked about earlier. He actually beat Bobby Flay, was it?
He won Iron Chef.
Iron Chef.
Yeah.
It's better than I can...
Oh, the gummy goon is Roddy, not Lance. I'm sorry, Roddy.
Oh.
My bad. I apologize. And Jerry said she cooked along with you, and damn, this is good.
Did you make macaroni too?
This is Josh. I eat fries dipped in milkshake.
That's actually really good, right? Salty French fries and a milkshake.
Don't you? David Spake loves that. Don't you? You
Yeah.
love Wendy's French fries and a Wendy's Frosty.
Yeah, that's a good combo.
Jake, Josh says yes.
Did you eat any of the chili, Josh? Did your mom make macaroni and cheese too, or just chili?
Oh, they say check Instagram. David, check your Instagram account. By the way, David never checks Instagram. Have you been on Instagram this year?
Yes, I've been on it this year.
So Jerry says check your Instagram. Or go look, I guess probably go to her page.
Yeah. Excuse me while I find Instagram because...
And Sierra was just going to say, she goes, I was just going to say fries and Frosty. Hashtag stoner food. Sierra, what's up? I'm there, right there with you.
Did you tag me, Jerry? Oh, she did.
Go to her. Oh, she did. Margie says, I'm terrible at everything to be done at the same time. Any tips? Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Jerry cooked along with David.
Yum!
How amazing.
I hope you like it as much as I do.
So, David, Margie had a question. She said she's terrible at timing everything to be done at the same time. Do you have any tips?
I think one of the big things for me is having a firm idea of what your menu is going to be, and then looking at all of the things. Knowing, in the case of like the banana bread, it's a dessert. I know it can come later, right? Or it's something that can be eaten at any time. So I kind of pushed that out. And then I looked at, I know the macaroni is going to take 8 to 12 minutes to boil the noodles. I could like prepare all the sauce stuff before then. And then I knew that the chili, I knew it was going to take, it's better if it has an hour to sit before you serve it. Just like a lot of foods are better the next day, it's because the spices and the flavors can get into everything. So I really look at the time it takes to do it as a single thing. And I line them all up and say, this one will be an hour, this one's 30 minutes, this one's 20 minutes. And then I look at it and think, what can I do first to get it going, like the chili, and just put it on to simmer, and know that now I've got an hour to do my other things, right? So I do the longest thing first, and then I do the next longest thing and the next longest thing. And if I need to work on things together, because maybe I have two things that'll take 15 minutes, I'll start one of them 5 minutes early, one that can stand longer, like the macaroni here, could be fine and sit just like this for 20 minutes, nobody would know, right? And so if I wanted to make a vegetable, I would probably finish both of those and then put on asparagus or broccoli or something like that.
And Teo wants to know, can you freeze extra chili?
Yes.
David actually does that a lot. He makes big, huge pots of it, and then he'll freeze it, and then we'll like thaw it out later, like a couple weeks later or something.
Right. Right.
If we get sick of it, for example.
We eat it for a day, and then if we look at it and decide how much more are we going to get through in the next day or two, because even if it's awesome, you can only eat so much of something at once.
Yeah. Sierra wants to know if the reason you're sniffing so much is because of the spice in the food.
Huh? Yes.
And Sierra says she agrees with fries and Frosty. Oh, we already covered that, but that was because, hashtag stoner food. Salty sweet situations. Carrie Lehman also loves fries and a Frosty.
I'll be right back.
Jerry's-
Entertain people for a second.
I'm going to entertain people for a second. Oh, you know what that means. Pandemic glasses coming on. And let me introduce you all to Oliver. Hi friends. This is Oliver. He's our cat. He's an asshole. Let me tell you a little story about Oliver. So, Oliver showed up on David's doorstep a little bit over 11 years ago. And he was a little baby, and we kept him. And then he moved in with us when we bought a house together. And then when people were around our house when we were getting ready to move to Seattle, there were a lot of people in and out. And Oliver was able to go in and out. We had a backyard. So he was used to being outside. Well, when we moved to this house, he got really friendly with the neighbors. And he would go over to their house. And so he would disappear for days at a time. And ultimately the neighbor came over and said, "Hey, this orange and white cat, is this your cat?" And we said, "Yes, it's Oliver." And he said, "Well, he's been coming over to our house and we've been letting him inside and he stayed with us a couple nights and we've been feeding him. Is that okay?" We're like, "Sure." So we had like a double life. And he was like, "Well, what's his name?"
He had two families.
He had two families. We were one of them. He just got sick of us apparently. We had to go looking for somebody else. So he finds his other family and the guy's asking me what's his name. I say it's Oliver. And he thinks about it, he looks at me, and this is an older guy, probably like, I don't know, what would you say, like 80s or so? He lived in this neighborhood for forever, and he was just like, "You know what? I don't like the name Oliver. We've been calling him Fred, so we're going to keep calling him Fred." So I was like, fine. So he was Fred half the time, and he was Oliver half the time. So when we decided to move to Seattle, he had disappeared for a few days, and he doesn't like people, so I just thought, okay, he's hanging out, he's being Fred for a while. When we get time to leave, we'll go get him. Well, he didn't show up. So we're having to look for Oliver, and then finally the day comes we have to move, and he's nowhere to be seen. I'm stressing. I'm so upset. Blah blah blah. We have to leave. So we tell everybody, if he shows up, call my friend Jenna. She'll get him, etc. Blah 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 blah. Well, that was in January. Nothing, no one ever heard from him. Then in May, he shows up. Where was he from January to May? Where was he? What was he doing? No one knows. So I flew to Atlanta to get this asshole of a cat. And I had to pick him up and put him in a pet carrier and fly from Atlanta to Seattle with him. And you know what he did the entire time? It's a 5-hour flight. What did you do, Oliver? What did you do? Did you sit there quietly?
Were you like this and sweet?
Were you sweet? Were you nice? Were you cool? Were you chill? No. He howled like this. Not only the 5-hour flight, the car ride to the airport, going through security, checking in, getting on the plane, taking off,
Howling endlessly.
landing, going to baggage claim, getting the bag, going to the taxi, having a car ride home. So all in, probably about 9 hours of this guy. So that's Oliver.
Then Jeremy gets home.
Total asshole cat.
Exhausted. Jeremy's exhausted and he gets home. And the cat, he lets the cat out, jumps up on the couch, and passes out for 2 days.
Didn't move for 2 days.
Just lay there.
But where was he from January to May?
Yeah. How much time do we have left?
You have exactly 1 minute. That was perfectly timed.
Okay. Figure I'll do the sexiest thing I can in the kitchen for a lot of women watching.
Which is what?
Cleaning, doing dishes.
Sexy for me. Can you hand me my glass, please?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Alright.
Looks clean to me.
What? Looks clean to me. Okay. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. So I would normally recommend use a toothpick to test how your banana bread is done. You insert it into the middle of a channel, in this case because it's a bundt pan, round channel, and you would take the toothpick, slide it in, pull it out, see if it's clean. I don't have a toothpick, so I'm going to use this thermometer because sometimes you just got to make things work. Oi!
I bet.
Not quite clean. What do you
Jerry
think?
says, poor Jake is so tired of doing dishes.
Yeah. See, there's a little wet batter on it. You can't really see, but gotta cook it till it's done.
Jake, I can relate. Part of us having to cook home so much lately is all the constant cleanup.
Yeah.
We're doing dishes all the time, it feels
All the time.
like. Dishes and laundry.
Yeah. It's like you don't change clothes as much, but it doesn't seem to, or, I don't anyway. And the laundry never stops. And there's only two of us. Feel bad for you, Jake and Jerry, and other Margie people with kids. Anybody have any other questions while we wait, or while I do dishes?
Margie says she wants someone to clean up after she cooks.
Right?
That is a good little deal we've got going.
Yeah.
You cook, I clean. Although you're cleaning right now too.
Right. Well, we've got time, and it needs to be done. So, and it gives me something to do while we talk to people. Has anybody made anything that they really like that they want to share since the quarantine's been down?
Well, I know that Teo said they made your chili, so did Jerry today.
Yay.
But yeah, anything else? So Carrie, I don't know if Carrie is still with us. Oh yeah, she was. She was watching Oliver. She had a charcuterie board competition.
Okay.
And Carrie, if you are listening, I chose, so she had like pictures that she posted, David. Charcuterie board A or B, which one was better? I chose A. I'm guessing, Carrie, it was you and your sister who made them and like you were competing. I don't know whose was whose, but I liked A better. And then Sean says she wants to see your apron collection.
Okay, I'll have to look. Got this one, obviously. Let me bend down. Let me finish rinsing this off. And
I don't know if you have a lot of your aprons down here though. A lot of our stuff is in storage because I don't know if you have many of them here.
let's look.
Let's look.
Excuse me while I make a mess behind the counter.
Sierra says she's made caramel popcorn, which David,
Ooh,
you would
fun.
probably love. David loves caramel.
Mm-hmm.
And then also French green veggie soup.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, what does that mean, Sierra? French green veggie soup. I mean, green veggie soup, context clues, right?
Right. And French.
Meaning like vichyssoise? What are you talking about? Margie says she has coffee with her friend over in hushed tones. Alexa.
I can't find my fond macarons.
Oh, Sierra says she's getting chocolate chips tomorrow, so cookies are on their way. David Spake actually brought us home some chocolate chip cookies last night that I would like to eat 17 million of.
Yeah, they're really good.
They're really good. Oh, what's that apron?
One moment.
Quick change. It's a quick change. Everything happens in the quick change.
This way. Okay, hold on. Let me get this straightened out so I can have a big reveal.
Sierra says that it was a recipe she got from French women and basically just all green veggies blended together with a dash of cream.
Oh!
That sounds delightful, quite frankly.
Yeah, that sounds like something you would
I have
love.
yet to meet a vegetable I don't like.
That is not the case for me.
David hates all vegetables. That's not true. You hate most vegetables.
Yes.
You love a Brussels sprout.
I do. I like broccolini a lot.
And you love broccolini. 50 cooking and still good looking. So obviously someone gave that to you for your 50th birthday. Who gave that to you?
I don't know. It was a few years ago.
Because he's 92.
92.
Margie said she made a homemade Boston cream pie
Ooh.
for her son's 28th birthday. The custard had too much whipping cream.
That can happen. But I bet it still tasted good.
I do like a Boston cream pie. You know what I love, David?
What?
Speaking of like comfort food and southern food and all that stuff, my grandmother used to make me vanilla pudding, like banana pudding with vanilla wafers.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Just vanilla pudding and wafers without the bananas?
But it has to be vanilla wafers, like that
Right,
brand.
vanilla wafers.
It has to be that.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Like I don't want any other brand to have it. So just like when we have cranberry sauce at Thanksgiving, at Spakesgiving, it has to be Ocean Spray. Has to be.
Sorry, the champagne went down the wrong way. I'm still trying to get to where I can talk.
Champagne problems, champagne problems. Tina says she made Irish stew recently.
Ooh.
One of her favorite things to make. What is Irish stew?
It's stew with, did you use Guinness or did you use like a lager or like a whiskey? Did she answer?
I'll let you know when she does. She said yes, which probably means she's responding to your first question, which was Guinness.
Yeah. So basically, it's stew with alcohol in it. It gives it a good, robust, interesting flavor.
What's in this stew? Like vegetables? Like I'm guessing potatoes, like a hearty kind of stew type of situation?
Yeah, I'm sure, it's one of those things. Irish stew can be any number of things. Like, yeah.
Oh, keep going.
Oh no, just, it's stew where you add stout or beer or whiskey.
So
Your stew.
Tina says carrot, potatoes, peas, celery, beef.
Right.
Okay, that makes, okay. Sean has an idea.
Okay.
He wants a steel magnolias menu, and I concur. That's the greatest
That would be
idea
a fun
I have
idea.
ever heard in the history of time.
Other than...
How do you even
roast
make
pig,
great icing? Do we have the counter space? I'm not sure.
Right? We could make a...
Can we make two pigs fighting under a blanket? You could make Shelby's juice.
Right, you could do that.
I will do that. It's called, yes,
mimosa.
the mimosa. So just so everyone knows, when we had our engagement party, we had a movie screen set up in the back of our house, and we called it Screen on the Green Up, because there was in Atlanta this huge movie festival that happened every summer called Screen on the Green, and they would set up these big movie screens outside in the park, and people would go watch movies outdoors and bring picnics, etc. So we called it Screen on the Green Up, and we played Steel Magnolias in the backyard.
Or we plan to.
We planned to, but it got rained out. It was, torrential thunderstorm, epic of southern proportions that day in July in Atlanta. Hot, humid, just like raindrops the size of Volkswagens.
But the wind stopped oddly on ground, so it was hot and humid and still, and pouring rain. It was weird.
Pouring. So about 100 people jammed into our house and totally destroyed it, and it was amazing. It turned out to be a fun night.
It was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. But by the way, so we had Shelby's Drink Your Juice bar with like a cocktail that was the Shelby's juice that people would drink. We had a punching bag people would go to and they would punch, and so that you could take a whack at Weeza, and then you get a T-shirt, because in the movie it says, we're going to sell T-shirts. Say, I slapped Weeza Boudreaux. So we had the T-shirt that said, literally, I slapped Weeza Boudreaux. And it was epic. And we had a Bleeding Armadillo Groom's cake with, mind you, gray icing. So I just want everyone to know it was a great engagement party, and too bad it got rained out. But it turned into a great time.
Yeah.
And everyone just being rainy, like wet and sweaty from the summer, just slammed into our house.
Yeah.
There was just like,
everybody had a great attitude.
It was fun.
Everyone just rolled with it. Nobody was like, darn.
but we trashed our house.
But what was hilarious about the whole thing was we had the screen out, they had a little popcorn machine going, and Jeremy was killing time. And for those of you who weren't there, he decided to play Madonna videos as like the pre-show instead of like trailers. So Madonna was playing,
And rain
came on, and that's when it started raining.
So Madonna cursed me. No, think of it this way. Madonna blessed our marriage.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was. She blessed us.
Darn it.
Rain came on. It started to rain. There you go.
There, I said it again. Darn it. Drink.
Drink. Sarah Kate said she did a chicken cordon bleu in the air fryer last week. And that
fun.
was successful. Would someone please tell me what an air fryer is? And
It's a countertop convection oven.
okay.
Some of them come like the old school ones where it's clear around the outside and you have like the heating element at top. And I think the modern ones also look more like, what do you call it? What's that? Instapots. Right?
Okay.
Which one do you have?
Sarah Kate, a chicken cordon bleu sounds good. And by the way, she says it sounds like a great party, and I want you to know that it was.
Yes. Okay, we are done. Banana bread are done.
Sean says cuppa cuppa Seattle style, and that's a great reference to Steel Magnolias. Sean, thank you, thank you, thank you. Cuppa 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 is one of the great recipes that come from that movie.
Right? And somebody made it for the party.
And yes, our friend Penny Anderson brought to our engagement party cuppa cuppa cuppa. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it was amazing.
Hi Penny, if you see this. Okay.
Sarah says their air fryer is like a basket. There's his banana bread, folks.
Banana bread. And to demonstrate the doneness, Josh, I would normally use, assuming Josh is still here, I would normally use a toothpick because it's not as big around, and I don't want to like make big holes, I just would want a little hole. But I would take in the middle where it's the deepest, and you push the toothpick in, and when it comes out and it's perfectly clean like that, there's no banana bread batter or anything left sticking on it, you know your banana bread's done. There you go. So, technically we should wait, but I really love warm banana bread with butter.
Me too.
So I would say let it rest and cool. I might collapse part of it by doing this, but I don't care.
Tina wants to know how you get that out of the pan. Do you let it cool first and then turn it upside down?
Yeah. Yeah, I probably should have floured it too, but then you end up with little white flecks on the outside.
Belle obviously wants some as well.
Yeah.
Hi, sweetheart. That's our dog Belle, who just woke up from a hours-long nap.
Yeah. So I'm just carefully lifting it around the edges so that it isn't stuck to the pan. So when it does get turned out, we'll hopefully have more success. Probably didn't use enough oil, I've seen.
Come here, let me help you. Come over this way, baby.
Or hopefully the camera doesn't get knocked over. Our dog Belle is trying desperately to figure out how
She
to
wants
get
to get
by.
off the couch. Come on, baby.
Oh, there she goes. All right, no crisis. So I'm just doing this to make sure that the cake is, the bread, whatever, has released from the edge. I'm trying to be careful not to dig into the less stick coating that it has. I don't know if it's a true non-stick. That part was stuck on. And the reason I'm doing this is because if you have any splash up, it can stick, and then when it comes out, it like rips off where it's stuck to the pan. So just going around and round. I've lost track. All right. Okay. I don't know if it's still running from the chili a little bit. Sorry about that. I'm looking for a good dish to put it on. That's small. Trying to figure out what I want to turn the banana bread onto.
You mean to keep it?
Well, to make it come out and look at it, so it hopefully looks pretty.
Do you want to use one of these things over here?
Well, is it bigger than one of our normal plates and flat?
Yep. We have those big plates in the bottom over there, but you can also use this. Want to use this?
Yeah, I'll just put a piece of parchment over it. We have these little under the table chargers that you can, under the plate chargers that you can use. So, because I don't know if it's sealed and food safe more than just pretty, I am going to take a piece of parchment paper and put it under here. And that way it won't stick to this surface as much.
Tina wants to know, she says she would use an angel food cake pan rather than a bundt pan. What do you think about that?
That's really smart. I don't have an angel food cake pan, but it does the same thing, and you do have the ability to put it up and have the outside come off, and it's easier to take out. I'm just kind of getting the edges of it down a little bit, making it roughly circular.
What are you using, David? What is that you're using?
Parchment paper.
What is that? One of my favorite phrases. Parchment paper.
Parchment paper.
I love saying that. Parchment paper. Talk about steel magnolias.
All right.
What are you doing with that parchment paper?
All right, I'm not worried so much about beauty, so I just want to cover the open wood portion of that.
Parchment paper.
All right.
Sarah Kate's off for a walk. She says thanks for the knowledge and entertainment, and she's going to be stalking the site for ranch recipes.
Okay. Please stalk the site. Please like the Facebook page.
And Jerry says thanks for having something to look forward to on Saturdays. And what was that website again, David Spake?
DavidSpake.com.
What was that one more time?
DavidSpake.com.
And I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
DavidSpake.com.
I'm not sure if Belle heard you.
Bell, it's DavidSpake.com. S-P-A-K-E. Didn't come loose? Thought it might not. So I'm going to just slice slices out of the pan. When it's cooler, I would maybe be a little more aggressive, banging it a little harder, but
Parchment paper.
it's still warm and it might come apart. But carefully slicing so that I don't scratch the cooking dish. First slice is always the hardest to get out. A little dense, but it's good. Yay. Actually might just put the rest of it back in the oven and let it cool down in there. That way it'll cook up a tad bit more. It's a little close, as they say. But it looks good. Let me put that on a little plate. And by they, I mean the Great British Bake Off.
David loves that show. quite frankly, I love that show. I don't even bake. But I do love that show. It's so compelling. The people are so compelling.
I know, they're just so sweet.
I get so into their stories. I'm like, I'm like so interested when their souffles rise.
Right.
Yeah.
Do they even make souffles?
I don't even know.
However, I love making souffles.
Actually, David Spake, you used to have souffle baking.
I've got them.
You used to have souffle making parties with Renee. Right?
Oh, yes.
You and Renee would get in our kitchen and make souffles for like hours, and I would be like in the basement watching television, pouting.
I'll have lots of butter. All right. Would you like to taste a bite, Jeremy?
I would love to. Thank you.
I'll just grab some with my hands real quick.
I can say it's as good as any banana bread I've ever had.
It's great.
I've never made this recipe before. So actually the texture inside is actually really good. Has like a crumbliness to it. It just was a little soon to cut a piece out. It should cool down for like 30 minutes before you do that. And that lets the cake stabilize and stuff. And when I cut it, it kind of smashed all that together because it was still warm. But man, is it good.
It sure is.
The outside's kind of got that little bit of caramely crunchiness to it, and the inside is all gooey. Not gooey, but moist. And
Carrie says she loves this. We love you, Carrie.
I'm so glad everybody took the time.
Come back and watch it. Come back and visit us, Carrie. You're a Key Fob official.
Right?
Carrie is truly the only person. Actually, she's the only person who we know who's Key Fob official.
Oh yeah, for this building.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. But I just want to say thanks to everybody who took the time today to come and watch me flail around in the kitchen.
Listen to me drunkenly scream.
Yeah.
From the couch.
Parchment paper.
Oh, one more question before you go.
Oh, sure.
Carrie says they're planning to grill chicken leg quarters on the grill tonight. How much would David season them?
Are you putting them in a marinade, or are you just grilling them just like take them out of the package and put them on the grill? What were you planning? What's in your mind already?
She just wanted to do her, so hold on, she'll let us know. But she is hashtag KeyFobOfficial for sure.
Just let that cool off. So if I was doing it, the way that I seasoned the hamburger meat when we started, if I was talking just salt and pepper, that's basically what I would do. There. Let's see, we're going to use the little charger plate that we got out.
She said just straight on the grill.
Well, there's a couple ways, but I would use this so it's visible. Pretending we had chicken on this plate, what can I use in place of a piece of chicken?
Use a potato.
Oh, that'll work.
Pretend that's a piece of chicken, right?
Right. So I'm getting it wet because the chicken skin's a little moist, and that way the spices will do what you want. So typically you take a good pinch of sugar and
salt.
And that's exactly what I would do with that. So a good pinch on each side, half pinch of pepper, a good pinch of salt, and if you like garlic powder, I would give it a quick run over.
But that's it? You wouldn't put like a jerk seasoning or anything like that on it?
Well, it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm just wanting to season chicken to grill it, and then have it be very flexible and usable in lots of different ways when it comes out,
Yeah.
I would just use simple salt and pepper
Yeah.
and maybe garlic powder.
Yeah.
If you are wanting to do a marinade, we're actually going to talk about that in a future show of what my favorite marinade is, and it's really a finadeni base, which is a sauce that you put on everything in Guam, and it's the best chicken marinade I've ever had.
So he did, remember we said he lived in Guam for how long, baby?
15 years.
So there's a lot of really specific Guam cooking styles and barbecue styles particularly that he cooks that are amazing.
Yeah.
And he wants to do that soon. Next week, right?
Is it next week?
Yeah.
I forgot the order we put it in, but we got a schedule worked out. I'm going to put it on the website, and I'll put it on Facebook. The website is davidspake.com.
What was that again?
Yeah. davidspake.com. And I'm gonna, I'll put the future schedule, and then as the weeks get closer, I'll put in the attached recipes. So that way you can kind of look ahead and see what we're gonna do as time gets closer.
Carrie says, thanks for the tips. She's looking forward to the marinade. And Tina says, enjoyed it and hearing your stories. Looking forward to trying these recipes. And your sister says, awesome show today. Thanks for the inspiring recipes and the witty banter. And with that, thank you.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for watching. Now I have to go over here and turn off the camera.
You could teach me how to do that, maybe.